And we are live. That is right. We are live, direct. And one thing that will not be happening is ambient music in the background. Why? Because that free music is not free. It got claimed on my live video where they try to take away my monetization. So there will be no more background noise. With that being said, the topic of the video, as I get these weights ready, is Devin Haney is number one in 135. Now, here's the thing about it. Regardless of what video I made, regardless of me stating the fact that I thought George Kambosos won, here's the facts. The fact is Kambosos did not win on the scorecards. He lost. So with that being said, to be the man, you must beat the man. Devin Haney just beat the man that beat the man that beat the man that was the man. In other words, Devin Haney beat George Kambosos, who beat Teofimo Lopez, who beat Lomachenko, who was deemed as the number one guy in the division. So that by default puts Devin Haney at number one. There is no discussing it. There is no disputing it, as he is undisputed. That's the facts. Again, I don't know where some people have got it misconstrued that for me personally, I said I thought he lost. That means he's not number one by my definition. Because he is. And until he is beaten or he moves up in weight, he will remain number one in 135. Because he has proven himself to be number one. Now, a lot of people ask the question, what is he going to do next? What's next for Devin Haney? Well, it's apparent. Like Tyson Fury, he is stuck. He is stuck with the rematch. He signed on to it contractually, and that's what's going to happen. I think Bob Arum's already learned that if he tries to get out of a contract, it'll go to arbitrations and he'll lose. So I imagine that this fight is going to happen, the rematch. However, hold on, text message. Sorry. However, I personally, even though it was agreed to by contract, I personally believe that the fight should not be in Australia, not for the rematch. I feel like that should be in America. If Devin Haney could go all the way to Australia, defeat George Kambosos, then Kambosos should have to come all the way back to America to recapture his titles if he can do it. That's how I feel. Now, Devin Haney, he signed a contract saying that he would go to Australia. Unfortunately, if that's what DeBella and Arum stick to, that's what the contract says. I think, realistically, the fight does way more money in America. Way more money in America, without a doubt. I mean, truth be told, I was expecting the Australian arena to be a lot more packed than what it actually was. Hold on one second. I was expecting the Australian arena to be a lot more packed than what it actually was. Okay. So what I'm trying to do now is tag this video if I can. And then I'm going to get my workout in while I talk. We're tagging to the playback or anybody who randomly joins me right now. I'm tagging the video because it's actually allowing me to do it. And by the way, I owe 100 push-ups for getting this wrong, which I am going to pay up on. There's a guy named Knockout that I've got to pay up on my push-ups. I just haven't had the opportunity because I got the pick wrong. Again, regardless of what my video said, who I thought won, regardless of how my scorecard was, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like, case in point, I feel like Triple G beat Canelo in the first fight. That's not actually factually what happened. Canelo won that first fight, even though I felt like Triple G won. I feel like Austin Trout beat Canelo in the first fight. But actually, factually, that's not what happened. So again, people are entitled to believe what they want. They're entitled to score things how they see. And I just thought that the jabs wasn't enough when he was getting hit by straights and hooks. That was my personal opinion. Now, as far as like Kambosos coming out with excuses, talking about, oh, he grabbed me. He grabbed me. He held too much. I call bullshit to that. Oh, let me tell you who held too much. Who held too much was Vladimir Klitschko. Who held too much was Lennox Lewis. Those are people who held too much. Devin Haney by no means held anywhere close to how much those guys hold. It's not even comparable. Like, no. So the notion of Haynie held too much, I disagree with that 100%. I don't believe he held too much. Not at all. The thing is if you feel like somebody can beat you on the inside and you can't beat them, that's gonna be a bitch to get off. Let's do this. Let's do this to make it easier. Let's do this to make it easier. Anyways, as I was saying, he didn't hold too much. It's the referee's job to stop the holding if the clinching is too much. Secondly, as I was saying before I stopped talking, Devin Haney would have been foolish to trade with Kambosos on the inside. If you are fighting somebody and you feel like you can't beat them on the inside, you feel like their hands are too fast, you feel like they're going to get the better of you, then you're dumb not to clinch. So Devin Haney did everything he was supposed to do. He threw the jab and he held when he could, when Kambosos got close. That's boxing. Again, it would be tactically stupid to try to fight in a way that you're not best at. And anybody arguing that he held too much just doesn't really know the sport. Again, it was on the referee to say he's holding too much. If the referee doesn't warn you, you keep on clinching. You keep that advantage. Every time the gap is closed, you make sure that that gap is reopened, whether it's through clinching or getting away. All right, we're going to stay real light with tries because we're just getting back into it. I never did a rewatch the fight. I've never rewatched it either. I need to rewatch it. Sometimes, I'm not going to lie to you, regulator. Whenever I do live commentaries, a lot of times I feel like I don't need to rewatch it. I called the punches. I said them as they hit. You know what I mean? I talked like an auctioneer. I kept up with it as best humanly possible as I could. And again, my thing is this. My analysis of that fight isn't going to change because there's no amount of times that I could watch that fight that's going to make Devin Haney throw punches that he didn't throw. You know what I mean? Like, all I'm going to rewatch is him jabbing. That's it. With the occasional hook or the limited straight here and there, I don't know what good a rewatch for me would do. Maybe I do need to rewatch it, but at the moment, I don't see how my thoughts on how the fight played out would change, because I'm going to see the same thing. I'm going to see the same result. I'm going to see one guy throwing jabs, connecting, and he connected a lot. But at the same time, I'm going to see another guy landing left hooks and straights to the body all night long. So my thing is this. And from everything I've seen, every time I've ever judged the fight on live scorecards that have been correct over 100 times, maybe 200 times by now with all the cards I've done, added up. What's going on, Get It Smoke? You're more than welcome to jump on the panel. What's going on, AJ? You're more than welcome to jump on the panel, but here's the deal. I'm not trying to go. If people start talking over each other, I'm gonna close it out real fast. So we can all get our piece out, but we're not gonna argue over each other. I'm not gonna play the one up in each other while we're talking. Everybody makes their point, they stop, the next person rebuttals, or they make their point, they stop, then the next person. As long as your sentence keeps going, or their sentence keeps going, nobody talks over the other. I don't care if it's a 30-minute long-winded explanation. Hush until they're done. Then when they're done, continue. But by all means, Smoke, hop on the panel, always welcome, whether we agree, disagree. AJ, you already know. You support the channel a lot, so you always have an open door. Let me hit this next set. I'll look back, see if y'all joined. If y'all did, then y'all are more than welcome to jump on it. I'll probably have to rehash stuff I've already said. So sorry to the playback, but sometimes it's necessary. One more of those, then we start. Okay, yep, look. We got Jay. We got Get This Smoke. Why does it say boxing lounges?
Yeah, it's me. Yeah, I got the, you know, if you want to play Guess That Boxer on my icon, you can put me on the big screen.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Is that Fatty Hatton?
That's him.
I have no idea what the hell is going on in this picture.
Entertainment.
Let's do this. Let's come back here. Let's make us even. There we go. So how you doing, Smoke?
What's good, Tony?
What's going on?
I'm on mute. I was like, I'm good, man. How's the day going?
It's going well. Trying to get this second workout of the day, finish it up. Tries real light, real easy, real quick.
So we can jump right into it. What's up, AJ? What's up, chat?
What's up?
So I watched your breakdown video, and I would love to chop up your methodology of scoring fights and see if, like, because I feel like there's a couple of disconnects, but also I think you're biting off a whole lot when you're trying to, like, call a fight and score the round. You're doing a ton. So, like, it's not.
What do you mean? I'm trying to bite off too much, calling a fight and score a round. What do you mean?
It's like, man, it's just a hard thing to do. Like, as a person who called fights and also scored fights, it's just fucking hard.
To me, it's easier because I'm really paying attention to the blows that are coming, because I'm saying.
But you get caught up in the moment, and it's kind of hard to, like, be, whatever. It's hard. Like, you're focusing on a whole bunch of shit. Like, it's the old adage. If you do a whole bunch of things at the same time, it's hard to do anything well.
I feel you and I hear you, but the thing is, I look at is consistency and a history, right? So what you have to fall back on is you could be very correct. It could be swayed because you're doing too much at one time. You're being too ADD. You know what I mean? You're not focusing on one thing. You're spreading it out. But
yeah, you're like trying to call the action and then you're trying to
right.
judge the action at the same time. It's like,
But the thing is, Smoke, is when you look at accuracy, that's judged by history. That history is built off of what you have done. I mean, I've got to be close to 200 live scorecards, and off the top of my head, I can only think of 3, this being the third, that my score was way off from what the ringside judges had.
I feel you.
So
yeah, I mean, if you've developed the muscle, then whatever. Like, so I haven't watched your scorecard and live calls before. That's the first one. So that was just like, one thing off the top.
Right. Well, I mean, you can.
But now we get.
I'll give you an example. You could ask Regulator. This was way back. I forget what fight. But as I was scoring it, I scored it a draw. People in my chat were like, "There's no way it's a draw," and sure enough, the shit was a draw.
Yeah, like I can, when it's a close fight, like I can, I throw out split decision draw kind of stuff. Like, I try to figure out the outcome, but really, there's a reason why there's 3 judges, right? Like it's not, and then their cards don't match, hardly ever. I mean, it's rare where you get all 3 judges see it the same way, and then generally it's probably a wide scored fight at that point. But sometimes you get like the B-Ball and fucking Canelo, where they saw it the same, like the final score was all the same way, even though their scorecards didn't even match. Like, I don't know. You get weird shit like that happens, but
right. What's going on, I Be Who I Be? You're more than welcome to jump on I Be Who I Be. But yeah, so as far as like scoring a fight, right? Here's the thing. We all agree with the scoring criteria. However, when it comes to punches, right? To me, and being in boxing gyms, being around live events that have been on ESPN in the past and everything, and I'm not diminishing what you've been around, I'm just saying my experience, you know what I mean? To me, whenever I've talked to judges in person when I was younger, like 17 coming up, opening up with amateur fights before the actual event start, and talking to them, there's a difference in professional boxing and amateur boxing. Amateur boxing, glancing shots, just as the white of the glove touches the face, the body, it's counts. However, also in amateurs, there's no difference in punches. A jab counts as just as much as a straight, counts just as much as a hard shot, counts just as much as a hook or body shots. There's no difference. It was just you touch, you score, you point. In the professionals, a power punch is worth more than a jab. That's how it is. That's the story of how Canelo wins all of his fights. He gets heavily out jabbed, but he lands enough power shots in a round that even though he was outlanded in per se round, because the other guys could only touch him with jabs and he's banging them with power shots, he sways the round.
So I think there's some truth to that, but I think that there's some context being missed. It's really clean. It's really clean how hard it is. It's how clean the punches land, not just whether or not it's a power punch or a jab.
Yes, clean effective. Yes.
So that's like it's just sort of that, like on a clean punching, you can't give Kambosos anything. Is it sure he's throwing a power punch, and another dude's throwing a jab, but the clean work is being done by Devin, not by George.
So here's the thing. How much cleaner can you get with a straight to the body that hits dead on in the body?
How much cleaner can you get to it than it gets to the face? And then maybe you can start talking about the number of them. But still, even that is like a weird, like kind of a metric, right? You're starting to get into the weeds. But to me, if you just look at the cleanliness of the work, it totally favors Devin. And it's not like Kambosos was the only one going to the body. Like, Devin was going to the body. Like, I feel like the way that you are you're generalizing the work, I think is accurate. That mostly Devin Haney was throwing the jab, and that was the story of the fight. But he was throwing other things besides that at pivotal points in rounds. But he was just winning the rounds, in my opinion, off of not just the cleanliness of the punching, but also off of his defense, also off of his ring generalship. And furthermore, like when it came to the effective aggression, I think both of them like switched off on it in parts of it.
So,
like, yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
No, my counter to that is right. One of the big things that people like to say is, and I've seen memes with Lennox Lewis talking about, look at the state of his face, look at the state of his face, right? That has been out there. But here's something that people disregard, which is a real thing. What is one huge advantage that black fighters have over white fighters or darker fighters have over the lighter the fighter gets? What's the biggest advantage they have? As far as taking damage goes, let me.
Sorry, what are you saying? Will you repeat that?
Okay, so
a little bit away from.
Yeah. So let me clarify. So when it comes to taking damage, okay, or how visible damage is, what is an advantage that really dark fighters have over the lighter a fighter is?
Yeah, I mean,
no, just what advantage is it? I just want to see what you say if you're on my page. Let me make it easier for you. If I was to slap you in the arm, right? And then you slap me in the arm, what would be the difference?
I think you're talking about the contrast, right? The contrast in skin color.
Yes, you're going to see the reddening and the bruising of the skin on the lighter somebody is, the easier it is.
It'll pop more, right? That intensity will be there more. But yeah. But like, how does that affect round by round scoring though?
No, it doesn't. My point to that is a lot of people are saying Kambosos lost. The jabs were hard because he looked more damaged than Devin Haney did visually. You see what I'm saying? To me, that's not really a legitimate argument. I've seen guys that look like they've been beat by baseball bats still win the fight.
Yeah.
So people say, like the one reporter that called him out, which was funny as shit, that said, "Oh, well, it looked like you was in a fight or something like that." You know what I mean? It doesn't really go apples to apples.
No, it doesn't. Right. So I feel like that's where the controversy was because of what that reporter said to him. But his face was actually the story of the fight. So sometimes it actually is that. It doesn't mean it's that, but yeah, sometimes it is exactly that.
Sometimes it is. I agree. Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, Floyd is a great example of it, right? Like, I mean, his name was Pretty Boy for a reason, right? It was because he would come out of fights not being like really touched compared to the other guys.
Yeah, but Floyd and Devin are not really comparable.
No, not at all. I'm just talking about that particular. I'm not talking about Floyd and Devin. Just
Floyd.
Idea.
If Floyd would have been in the same position fighting Kambosos would have been hit by a lot more than jabs. He would have been picked apart with straights. He'd have been hit by hooks. You're just acting like it didn't happen because apparently it didn't happen enough for you. But he pull countered the guy. He hit him with uppercuts. He would, like, even on the inside game, his clinching, sometimes he would clinch, sometimes he'd come with the uppercut, sometimes he'd come with the hook. Like he was mixing it up like straight Midwest style. It was just a Midwest. To me, it was a pretty much textbook Midwest style versus a typical ambush style. Like already George Kambosos was behind stylistically, and then he's the smaller guy. So anyway, it's just a whole bunch of shit. Like that Manny Pacquiao fucking style of fighting. For Manny Pacquiao, because Manny Pacquiao was fast as fuck. He could hit hard and he threw straight punches. But Kambosos don't hit hard. He throws looping fucking shots, and he needs to have his feet perfect for him to land. Like, so, yeah, that wasn't, like Manny Pacquiao's feet could be fucked up, and he'd hit you with something hot, and he would still be fucked up. But that's not Kambosos. So it's kind of like he's just kind of fucked in this fight, in my opinion. Like, it wasn't really about whether or not a guy was throwing a jab versus a power shot. It was more about the clean fighting and the 4 criteria. You could really only give him maybe one of them during points of the fight for the majority of the fight. Not just like, I felt like there were rounds that he won, definitely, but I'm just talking about the majority of the fight. I mean, and like I said, I hear what you're saying, but again, how I have always scored fights, I can't look, like the title says, he's the man of 135. He won. It's irrelevant to my opinion. He is the undisputed champion. He is the man. He's the man that beat the man that beat the man. Period. Begins, ends there. But to my point is, if I see a guy land 10 jabs and maybe one straight or one uppercut in a round, but at the same time, I see him hit by, say, 4 straights and 3 hooks to the body, I give it to the guy who landed the harder shots, the hooks and the straights. Yes, the other guy landed 10 shots total, or however I said, I don't know if I said 9-1 or 10-1, whatever, irrelevant. Maybe he will land 11 or 10, but that 7 power shots that landed count for more, in my opinion, than just landing jabs. I don't score jabs higher than I do the harder shots.
Yeah, I feel like you're actually overlooking
Devin Haney's jab was the hardest shot of the fight.
Yeah, and that's the other part. It's clean punching. Like it is hard, and also it is quality over quantity, right? So how you describe quality, I feel like that what you're being is reasonable, right? But I think you're going past the main part of it. Like the primary thing you should be looking at is the cleanliness of the work, not whether it's a jab versus non-jab.
I'm not overlooking the cleanliness, because while Devin looked to have more, he just looked stronger than George. He looked bigger. He looked stronger. I was very surprised, though, that in the ring, he was much shorter than he is outside of the ring. So I don't know what the deal with that is, but in the ring, George looked taller, not shorter, like he did at all the press conferences. But size-wise, Devin looked to be the bigger man. The thing is, like, let me give an example, Smoke, right? If I hit harder than you, right? When I hit you, it's going to look like I do more impact to you, especially if I'm bigger than you. So when you're hitting me cleanly, I might not move at all. You're still hitting me hard, but it has less effect on me because you don't hit as hard as me and you're smaller than me. So I'm not going to negate you for having what appears to be less impact when I'm seeing you're putting your all into the punch.
So in cleanliness, I'm just saying that, like, the punches that are easier to see, that landing clean. Like if you just replay the fucking fight in your head, at least for me, all I see is fucking Devin Haney hitting this dude clean on the fucking chin with a fucking jab all night. Yes, it snapped his head back, and maybe that's part of it. Like, you know, the effects of the shot, but that's also has to do with the hardness of it, right? Like if one guy is touching you, but it's not doing shit to you, and the other guy is touching you and it's snapping your head back, who landed the harder shot, regardless of it being a jab or a power punch?
When was Devin Haney hurt in the fight? Was he hurt at any point?
Maybe once.
Yeah, well,
maybe once. I think it was a check left hook. And I want to say around somewhere between the 3rd and 5th round, he got hit. He felt it. You could tell.
I think it was the second round. He got a nice little. It was one of the first few times because he was trying to counter him early. He was trying to counter the jab, but Devin had his hand. Devin was on the phone. He had his hand up. So that left hook, the lead left hook counter that Kambosos was trying, kept landing on the gloves. But he doubled up with a jab in the second, and he hit him with a check left hook. No, at first he hit with a check left hook, and then he double jabbed his way in. But then
what was up with Kambosos' offense though?
Say again. Like I know. Hold on. To knockout, because this is delayed. Do you want me to do it on my live, or do you want me to come over to yours at another time? Because I got you. In fact, I brought your name up. If you do the playback, you're gonna see that I mentioned you way earlier. That I hold push-ups over this fight. So it's your choice if you're still here. Anyways, my bad. Y'all continue.
By the way, Tony, how'd you have it scored?
I had it a landslide for Kambosos. I think I had it
What?
Well, not a landslide, but I had it 1 or 2 ways.
Wait a minute, you had Kambosos winning?
Yeah, like 8-4.
I saw it.
8-4, clearly.
Wait, hold on.
Let me finish.
Are you serious?
The 3rd round, I had a swing round. It could have went either way, the 3rd round. Contingent on how you scored the 3rd round would have changed my score. I was fine with giving Devin Haney the 3rd round, or I could have seen it going to Kambosos. If he would have won the 3rd round, I had it 115, 113 for Kambosos. If you gave him the 3rd round.
Tony, you're joking, right?
I'm being dead serious. That's how I saw it. That's how I caught it. That's how I was doing it live.
It's why I'm on this live, because he and I like went back and forth in the chat. So I'm like, you know what? This is too much fucking typing. And it started to get like mumble. Like he started like I think something was lost in the translation. Like sometimes it was like anyway, I got a weird writing style. Anyway. So I felt like I'd come on the fucking chat on the channel and like chop it up, because I wasn't saying about people knowing more. I was just talking about when it came to like the using outside sites to to verify or validate your scorecard. I was just trying to say like maybe
no. What I was saying,
I was saying they knew more, just kind of thing. But anyway,
no. The only reason why I brought up, because of what you were saying, I brought up facts that there was other sources I didn't even know about that pretty much scored the fight identically to me. So it wasn't just me, the only one ready to die on the hill by himself. There was legit other sites that was scoring it, that when you Google it, they had Kambosos winning. That's the reason why I brought it up, that it's not only me.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I got it. I wasn't thinking that you were that's going to be a thing. It's just that, like, unless it, like, for me, it's it's in the in the debate world, as a logic and as a logician, if you're going to do an appeal to authority, you want them to actually be an authority. So that's what I was saying. Is like if you got judges who judge championship fights saying this shit, then I feel like that's a little bit better, that's a little bit solid, a more solid ground to stand on. Not just to say that like some sites out there also agree, because they got
no. Like draft,
like, how boxing is so subjective to begin with, and everybody comes in feeling like they have a whole bunch of novices feeling like they're experts and all this shit, and even the expert, there's a whole bunch of disagreements. So
I will tell you, Smoke. Case in point, one site of many, DraftKings is pretty legitimate, because most of their fights they do live scorecards for, they normally always have the right winner winning when it's all said and done. Now, could their score be a little different round by round than what the official judges had? Sometimes it is, but normally the end state is still the same. So that
but did they tell you who it is that's doing the scoring at DraftKings?
What's that?
Who is doing the scoring at DraftKings though?
Whoever works for them that does it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like,
but they,
like if Stephen A. Smith, if Stephen A. Smith is over there, like at DraftKings doing scoring, like it's cool. He's Stephen A. Smith. He knows a lot about sports, but he knows fuck all about boxing. Why would I care about his fucking scorecard?
Let me see. I can't entertain this live right here, Tony. You know I rep True Media. That's cap. Only a biased person would say Kambosos won the fight. I feel like it's not True Media at all, Black. I feel like right now you're not being true. You're not being true at all, because here's the fact of the matter. True means you don't tell a lie. True means you say what you honestly feel. Whether you agree with me or not, I'm not the one saying you can't be on my platform because you disagree with me. You're entitled to your opinion, just like Get the Smoke, who extremely disagrees with me is. At the end of the day, being true is being true.
It's impossible to get bias out of scoring a fight. Like that's not even really a thing. You can, like, even if you have the criteria, some people score shit. Some people like defense more than they like another thing. Like it's just, like that's why you have like when you choosing refs for like, are you choosing judges for a fight? You like to choose a judge who has a track record, so you can see that they have been consistent over fights. They don't have like these wide ranging fucking cards, so you never know what you're gonna get. You want to understand what the judges' fucking consistencies are, like what their preferences are and all that shit. But to boil all that down to it, it's just really about biases.
But you gotta understand, Get the Smoke. Here's the thing about being biased, right? I pride myself on not being biased. I bring this up all the time because it's a very controversial fight that a lot of people believe who I say lost. Case in point, I picked Sean Porter to beat Errol Spence Jr. a long time ago, right? However, when I scored the fight live, I had each guy winning 6 rounds. Normally, that would be a draw. However, here's an issue. Errol Spence knocked that ass down, which means on my scorecard, Errol Spence won the fight. Now, I could have went with the masses and been like, nah. Errol Spence lost. Sean Porter won because that was my pick. But I didn't do that because I can only how I see it, how I judge it is how I judge it. What I pick has no bearing on what I put on the paper. So again, when you talk about like consistency, that to me is also being consistent. Willing to pick.
No, that's having integrity. But I'm just talking, when I say bias, I mean everybody sees the world through their own perspective. And by that, inherently biased. None of us are God. None of us have like the objectivity it takes to not to see the circumstances outside of ourselves, right? We only are using our own senses to perceive the outside world, and through that lens, it's going to be biased. But beyond that, just because you have a pick, like what you're showing is integrity. Even when you're saying that your pick may be wrong, you're going to have the integrity to say what your scorecard, like how you scored the fight. And yeah, you got to have integrity. And that's where the whole thing about, having corrupt judges comes into play. Like, it's one thing to be inept. It's another thing to be corrupt.
Right.
If you're inept, you're still being true, right? You just don't know what the fuck you're doing.
But listen though, you can have integrity, which is telling the truth when you know it's the truth, not lying, right? To fit whatever agenda, whatever goal. However, you can also be biased to yourself to where you think you're so good, you made this choice, and you're going to make sure unknowingly, unconsciously, that you were right because you're biased to what you believe. So you can be biased to yourself as well and skew things, not knowing that you're doing it. So that's all I'm saying. Yes, it's having integrity, but you can also be biased to whatever. There's unconscious bias. Everyone suffers from this. That's what I'm saying. Like, even if you're aware of your biases, that's just the ones that you're aware of. There's any number of them that you're not aware of all the time. Like, that's what life is. Like, if you are constantly trying to improve yourself as a person about your understanding of the world, right? The material and the immaterial world, then yeah, you're going to be coming up against your biases, both realized and unrealized. Correct. But the thing is how I feel is I have explained to you how I came up with my conclusion. And it is what it is. By the way that I see things, by the way that I judge things, it is. But I have enough sense to where I can say I didn't call it a robbery because I don't believe it's a robbery. You know what I mean? I never said once that Kambosos got robbed. I said I don't agree with it. I thought Kambosos won. And I think I said something. I don't know if I did on my live or in the video. I don't remember where I mentioned it. But I said something like, people were so scared that it might have actually been through a text message. People were so scared that Kambosos got robbed that he ended up losing a close fight that I thought he won. I just found that funny. But the point is, I haven't discredited the win from Devin Haney. He's the man. He's undisputed. I believe Kambosos should have to travel to America to fight him because Devin's owed that. Even before the fight, I was saying I wanted his dad to be there. I didn't think that was fair. Let's say this fight would have went differently and he would have lost and his dad wouldn't have been there. I'd have been highly upset with that because I don't like that. But at the end of the day, I still come back full circle to my personal opinion off of watching it. When I watched it, having rewatched it, I thought he lost, and that doesn't change. I'm not discrediting him. I'm not saying he's not undisputed, but I just honestly, how I score fights, thought he lost the fight. You're muted, Smoke, if you're talking. I don't know if Smoke is trying to talk and his mic's not turning on or what. Normally he talks a lot. AJ, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I just had to step away for a minute. I'm back.
Let me see. Let me look at the chat. Kambosos stood stagnant, Tony. Way different than what Porter did. Haynie school, Kambosos. I hear what you're saying, but I think people are overlooking all the power shots that he landed on Devin. Because he landed a lot. He was landing so much that if you rewatch the fight, because I called this out for being weird, they were actually showing the punch stats going into, I believe, the third round, and all of a sudden they quit showing them. They just quit showing them out of nowhere. Again.
Okay, so right. So for me, I think I think the deal is your methodology could lead you to the situation that we find ourselves in right now. Like for me, I gave this dude 2 rounds. Right? I could see how you could give him 3, and the judges gave him. I think one judge gave him 2 rounds, and 2 judges gave him 4 rounds. And I feel like that is pretty much in line with the fight that I saw. So like the idea that there's like some fix and all that shit is just don't even like ring like that is I don't even entertain it for real because I watched the fight that I watched and I scored it the way I scored it. But if you scored it,
was a fix.
I can understand like why you would then go into all of these other places. But like the reason why I scored it the way that I scored it, I think it has to do with all 4 scoring criteria. And one of the biases that I have about scoring, which may not hold true to anybody else, right? Is I think all 4 score criteria, I take them at 25%. I don't just go if you punch it more, then that means you won the round. I think clean, hard punching, like it's just clean punching, but I go hard punching because it's quality over quantity. And then effective aggression. That I think punching in all and of itself, no matter how the punches go. Unless you drop a person, right? That's only 25% of the criteria to win a round. And then ring generalship is another 25%. And defense is another 25%. And effective aggression is another 25%. So that's my 100% pie of scoring each round. It's not just like whether or not it was a hard punch. And so like for the other scoring criteria, the other 75% of that shit, outside of the punching, George Kambosos, maybe you could give him effective aggression in parts of it, like in parts of rounds. That it's kind of like that for me. Not just like, was it a jab versus a fucking straight right to the body kind of shit? Which one landed harder? Which one was a thing like that? Whatever. Because then you get into this weird gray area where if a guy punches harder than another guy, who landed the harder punches?
But it's not about who lands the harder punches. It's about the type of punches they land.
I'm just saying. But all right, so I'm just saying, like
straight, jab versus hook.
But if you but you can knock somebody down. But a shot like Triple G shotgun jab, right? It's gonna land hard and crisp. And if you have like some feather fisted dude landing a fucking body shot, or like a body shot hook to the body, like who cares that it was a hook to the body? If the other dude like stump is hurting you with a fucking jab, how are you winning that round just because you threw a different punch?
But see, now what you're trying to compare is Triple G and Haynie's jab is completely different because Haney has a lot more quality.
I'm only using that example to point out the methodology.
No, but listen though, because now you're saying like a guy like Triple G, or you can say a guy like Klitschko, etc. They have power jabs, which I agree with you. They do. However, there's a huge difference. Their power jabs come like power shots. They're not as frequent as how Haney throws his jab. There's a difference in the frequency. There's a difference in the effect. It's just, I understand what you're saying, but it's just a difference in how they attack with it. It's not comparable, in my opinion. Haney throws or to just a traditional jab. It's just flicks it out there, hits you with it, knocks you off balance or whatnot. But the thing he doesn't do, the thing that he does not do, that most elite boxers do, granted, he's winning, but what most elite boxers do is when they catch it with that jab, they follow it up with something, and they do it more often than not. He is not versus often. So I just don't see it comparable. You're muted, Smoke. I know you're talking.
Yeah, so I saw Haynie throw a bunch of different jabs. He's just not a powerful guy, but to me, a power jab is when you step through with it, right? You step forward with it. That's a power. That's a, or a shotgun jab. You step through and you shoot it, right? That's just how you throw it. It's just that Haynie does not have a lot of power since his fucking surgery, right? But I think he was throwing any number of jabs. He threw an up jab, he threw a disruptive jab, he flicked the jab, he threw a shotgun jab. But I'm just talking about when it comes to like the power of a shot, right? Like I don't know that you can. I don't know that you can break it down the way that you're doing. Like I feel like it's a little bit reductive, like in the methodology, and it will lead you to scorecards like the way that you're just. I don't know, man, but it's it is a fine hair to split, but I think that's where you can get into trouble. First off, how you value punches at all, and then the second part of it is how you break down the punch, and thirdly, whether or not you taking into account the cleanliness of the shot, because I don't think anybody is going to agree with you that Georges Kambosos' work was cleaner than Devin Haney's, even on the punching shit.
Again, obviously, there's people out there that agreed with me that there's articles with live scorecards.
No, that doesn't mean that they agree that the cleanliness of it. They could be having some sort of methodology like you're using, right?
On some way, somehow, they come to the same conclusion that I did. Now, whether they look at it the same way I did, I don't know. But at the end of the day, they were seeing something that made them fall in line with what I had.
Right, but who's knows? But who's to say that they know what the fuck they're talking about, Tony?
But my point was this: just using DraftKings as an example, they're very accurate, especially when they're a bet. No, hold on, Smoke. Especially when they're a betting site and they're got the guy that they're going to lose the most money on if he loses winning. So it was Bo in their best interest not to say the guy who's going to lose them the most money lost the fight. That's stupid business.
No, it's for all the people who feel like there's controversy. Like I'm not even going to go into their methodology because
I'm not getting into the controversy.
Frankly, I'm not even trying to figure out. Like, no, I'm just not even trying to. I don't know what their track record is. I can't even speak substantively on what the fuck DraftKings is about. I never heard that they did fucking scorecards, and quite frankly, I don't really care. Right, to be perfectly honest with you, it's just kind of like when I see a scorecard that is that wide, and you give me some other fucking site and without unnamed sources give me a card that shows like something completely opposite that I don't even understand how you could get that way. I truly don't give it. I don't like. What's the point?
So listen, I never said there was controversy in this fight.
I'm talking about the scorecard. I'm just talking about the score.
Right. What I'm saying is, what you're saying is, I'm not claiming robbery. I'm not claiming it is because I understand why you come up with the conclusion that you come up with. I understand why Black, who got on here, wanted to talk about he only rolls with True Media as if I'm being dishonest or some shit. I don't know if that's some type of subliminal shot or not. I understand how he came up with what he came up with. However, I just don't agree. That's what it is. I don't agree with the way that y'all scored the fight. I know how y'all came up with it. I just see it differently. You don't have to see it like I see it. I don't have to see it like the judges saw it. I'm not screaming that this was a robbery like I was when Triple G lost to Canelo in the first fight. I'm not screaming that this is a robbery like when Catterall lost to Josh Taylor. I'm not doing that because I can understand how somebody could come up with a different outcome for this fight. But if I was to say that I scored it for Haynie, or if I was to say that I believe Haynie won the fight, then I would be being disingenuous to myself because that's not what I believe. Somebody's got like a vacuum going in the background. I don't know who got the vacuum cleaner.
Not me.
You sure that's not you?
Not me.
Smoke, your mic's messing up.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm making a smoothie shit. Sorry.
Okay. Smoothie. I should have known that. I make so many. I should have known that was a blender.
Nah, sorry. That's my bad.
No, you good. I don't know if you heard anything I said because you had.
No, I didn't. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm not going to repeat.
Okay. Go ahead. Hit it on playback.
But again, to conclude, I understand how y'all came up with what y'all came up with. I just don't.
Oh yeah, no, I heard that part. Yes, I understand. Yeah, I'm just the only thing I was talking about in terms of controversy was me having it like the judges having it so wide and conclusive, where somebody else would have it pretty conclusive for the other guy. That's the only thing I meant by controversy. Not like, not like you're trying to protest the fucking scorecard.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not for this one. We're not protesting for this one because again, I can understand. Thus, the title. He's the man of 135 until beaten or he moves up. That's just what it is. Whether I scored it that way or not, it's irrelevant. He's the man. But let me say this. He said, Haynie said Kambosos got 30 days just out on an interview and said if no Kambosos rematch, he moving up if it makes sense with all the belts and compete. So he's about to pull a Teofimo Lopez. He's going to leave without the rematch. I don't know what you're saying there. They're not going to fight again in 30 days, so I don't understand that. Charles D said, Atlanta shot is Atlanta shot. It controlled the fight, and it kept Kambosos at bay. I don't agree with Atlanta shot is Atlanta shot because not all shots are created equal, nor are they the same style of punch. And he won IBO, and he keeping. Oh, Haney's keeping the franchise? I thought he said he was throwing it away.
Oh, man.
Look, I'm telling you right now, I said this before. It's a curse. After Kambosos lost, I said that franchise belt is a curse. Lomachenko lost. Tio lost. Kambosos lost. Canelo lost. I don't know if that's the belt you want to keep.
Well, it took a while for Canelo to lose, be fair. But yeah, he did lose.
Let me see. Haynie seems to believe the Kambosos investment in Australia. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. Like I said, I believe the fight should be in America. But if they sign a contract for it to be in Australia, he has no bargaining chips. It's either take the fight or get sued. Just like Tyson Fury. Just like Tyson Fury. It was either fight Deontay Wilder, get stripped, and get sued.
It wasn't get stripped and get sued. It was get stripped or get sued. Like, here's the thing. If he moves up, all the bets are fucking off.
I don't know how legally true that is.
Oh, man, there's no way. All they have to do is say, I can't make weight anymore. There's no court in the land that's going to, like, tell you to risk your health because you signed a contract to fight at 135. Like,
no.
It all depends on if George wants the rematch, though. So
no, I mean, I'm just saying George can want the rematch, but it's the rematch for the belts. So here's the thing. You can have an injunction on a fighter because it all right, so it's a sanctioning bodies thing and it's a fighter thing. Right? So if a fighter decides that he's not going to defend those titles, then you don't have any recourse. Like how Tyson Fury was saying, he's going to drop the belts and fight Ajit Caballero. Yeah, he couldn't have like that. That could have done nothing.
Yeah, and when he said that, Smoke, articles came out that if he dropped the belt and he fought somebody else, Wilder was going to sue him.
No,
if he dropped the belts and went for Undisputed, he was going to sue him for like, I think it was like.
Wait, you can't drop the belts and go for Undisputed.
But what I'm saying is, had it been an Undisputed, it's irrelevant. Everybody would have looked at it as Undisputed whether Fury had the belt or not. Because at the end of the day, it don't fucking matter if he drops the belt. He's the champion. Nobody's going to look at anybody else wearing that strap after they saw him knock Wilder out in the rematch. Not talking about when he slept him in the trilogy, but in the rematch, nobody would look at anybody else as the real champion but him. So whether the WBC was up for grabs or not, people would have still deemed that as the true undisputed crown king.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying. What it is
when he said he was going to do that, it was like $70 million he would have to pay.
Right. Only if he tried it. Only if he kept the title. That's the point. Is if the rematch was for the title. It's then you're not rematching the person. You're rematching for the title. It's a title rematch. It doesn't matter who the fuck has it. Like,
I don't
so
know.
Here you go. So let me tell you. It's like this. It's like this. If like Stanley Jonas right now is in line for the WBA at 147, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he took a step aside for Ugas, right?
Right.
Ugas lost, but his spot is still secure for Errol Spence fight.
Right.
If Errol Spence loses, he'll be in line for a Bud fight because it's a title shot for the sanctioning body, not with the person.
No, that's different. That's a mandatory fight for whomever the champion is. However, it all comes down to the legal write-up. If it states that if I lose to Devin Haney, I will rematch Devin Haney and not rematch for these titles if vacated. If Devin Haney's name is attached and not the titles, then he is legally bound. If Devin Haney says
only at 135 pounds, even that's going to be in the division.
Let me tell you this, Smoke. If Haynie says I can't make 135, I'll go to 140. And Cambosa says, fine, we'll run it back to 140 because he already told T.O. that. Then he's still bound to him.
Well, right. So that would be a stipulation that I don't think any boxing thing, any boxer is like really kind of interested in. Only if you're interested in fighting that one guy. But usually, what they're trying to do is fight for titles. So if a guy doesn't have a title, it becomes why the fuck fight him?
I disagree with that because I know if somebody whooped my ass, I would want to fight him again, regardless if the titles were on the line.
But that's you. I'm not saying, but that's not your team. Your team don't give a fuck. They're trying to get paid off of you like you're trying to get paid. This is not like pride fighting. Your manager and your promoter's not interested in that dumb shit you're on. They're trying to give you they're trying to get money fights from you because they get paid out of your person.
Again, I have to restate. If the contract has his name bound to the other guy's name, a.k.a. Haynie bound to Cambosis for a rematch, if the names are bound, it don't make a fuck what Lou DiBella wants to do. It doesn't make a fuck what Bob Arum wants to do because he's already legally bound to him. So if Cambosis...
No, I mean, I'm just telling you. I'm just saying.
There's nothing they
can do.
I
agree with you. I'm just telling you that's why no contract is written this way. Because they don't give a fuck about that. I'm just saying, like, that's not... I mean, it would be a very unique situation that George Cambosis was like, I don't care what fucking division we're fighting in. I don't care if there's any belts on the line. I just want to fight Devin Haney.
I would say that if he did it the way that you say it is done or was done, I don't know because we haven't read the contract, then he would be very stupid to sign that contract like that because I'm going to legally bound you, the individual. I don't give a fuck about the titles.
Yeah, but this is all about the title. They don't even care. Like, they don't even like Devin. Like, if George Cambosis wanted to fight Devin Haney, then he wouldn't have been looking at Lomachenko and looking at Ryan Garcia. He didn't give a fuck about fighting Devin Haney. Devin Haney just had a belt. Devin Haney just had a belt, and it was the next biggest fight.
There was no title for him to gain from Devin Haney because he didn't even look at that belt as it being legitimate. He
he also said that that franchise belt was bullshit
before he
got it. That's what I'm saying. Right. I'm saying.
And
I'm
look,
just saying.
Smoke, playing off of that. Devin Haney also said he would get rid of the belt before he got it. Once he got it, energy changed.
Yeah, of course. This isn't about, their respective fucking like words or their integrity or like who you should follow one versus the other based on what they say. I'm just saying that like really it seems as though Cambosis is not interested necessarily in Devin Haney specifically. He's more interested in guys like Loma specifically. But to indemnify, to obligate Devin Haney specifically and not go after the belts seems to be counterintuitive. It seems like it'd be like, fuck Devin Haney. I want to make sure that I am the next line. Like for all of these fucking titles, these titles I need to be the guy who fights for these titles because I had them. I signed there's a voluntary fucking it's a voluntary fight. I should be in line for the rematch, for the IBF, for the WBA, for the WBC.
But that's not what he said.
That's
not what he's ever said. What he's always said from the beginning is he's only fighting for legacy. That's why he picked Lomachenko, because he felt like Lomachenko, who now, after watching the Haynie fight, probably would have knocked him the fuck out. He felt like that was the biggest name to add to his legacy.
Right, so, but as a champion, though. Because he already was a champion.
Loma didn't have a title.
No, I'm talking about George. George was a champion. Now George is not a champion.
What I'm telling you,
Devin Haney is not going like fighting Devin Haney at 140 pounds also will not make him a champion.
It will not.
Fighting Loma,
I'm trying to tell you.
Fighting Loma for a belt is a legacy. He is in line for it, and that's the guy he actually wants to fight.
I got you, but Cambosis never said out of his mouth he was fighting for titles. All he said is, I'm fighting for legacy. I'm fighting for the biggest names. That's the only thing I've ever heard him say. Now, if you can find somewhere that he said, I'm fighting for the titles and I only care about the titles, then we can run with that.
He already had the titles, bro.
Before he had the titles, he was
he was fighting for titles.
No,
he wasn't saying like fuck Devin. He wasn't saying fuck Teofimo Lopez. Let me fight Loma.
Before he fought Lee Shelby, he made some stupid statement about him fighting for legacy. He's been saying this for a long time.
Yeah, but what does that mean though? Because apparently you have something like it. All it means that all you want to do is fight for the biggest names, and that means legacy. So fighting for titles is legacy. Becoming undisputed is legacy.
Let me ask you this. what looks better on your resume? Being undisputed? Like, I'll give you a prime example. Look at Terrence Crawford. He was undisputed. People downplay that because they say he beat nobody. It was a weak era at 140. He really didn't beat nobody. It doesn't matter that he was undisputed. It's pointless. Or you go for the biggest names of the division and you knock them all off. What's better for your legacy? Obviously, according to some people, they make undisputed out like it's this big thing. But when it comes to Terrence, it's not shit. It don't matter. So obviously, to a lot of people out there, names are bigger than these titles.
But right, if you listen to Terrence Crawford he'll tell you right now, he's a Hall of Famer.
I agree.
The reason why he says that is because he went undisputed 140.
But
That's it. Like that, his
legacy.
His legacy. So in his mind, being undisputed is his legacy. It's one of his career-defining moments. It's going to get him into the Hall of Fame. He doesn't give a good goddamn what anybody says about the quality of opposition.
Who did Mike Tyson fight for undisputed?
Larry Holmes. And then he fought Michael Spinks for the lineal.
What title did he get off of Larry?
I want to say it's the IBF. Larry was the WBC for a long time, but then he relinquished it and went to the IBF. And I think Mike Tyson beat him with that as an IBF champ.
I'm curious now.
Or maybe it's WBC. Maybe the WBC beat for the WBC belt, and then Larry Holmes got the IBF afterwards. I'm a little bit confused. I'm a little bit fogging the details.
Who did Evander Holyfield beat for undisputed?
Buster Douglas.
No, the cruiserweight.
Kwawi.
Who did Lennox Lewis beat?
Evander. They were both like he had the WBC and Evander had the other two.
You see how you're having to think about it, and you see how you know.
Because it says 20 fucking years ago, bro.
No, but my point is this: there's very little people who know who these guys beat for undisputed. But what they do know is Muhammad Ali beat George Foreman. He beat Joe Frazier. That's what they do know. He beat Ken Norton. That's what they do know.
Yeah, they don't know if it's undisputed or not. No, I hear you. I mean, also that was like 2-belt era, but yeah, when he beat Sonny Liston, he was undisputed.
Right.
When he fought Joe Frazier the first time, he lost, but that fight was billed as the lineal champion, who was Ali because he didn't lose in the ring, versus the undisputed champion in Joe Frazier.
Right, and that was like it was 2 fights. It was his 3rd fight back after he had that long break due to him not going to Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know, but my point is, there's not a lot of people who could tell you who they.
Oh, shit. Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I'm a different dude. I'm not like normal. Yeah, I'm not normal at all.
No. But my point is, at the end of the day, people don't say, "Oh, he beat this guy for this belt. He beat that guy."
No, not at all. That's YTBC shit.
Or let's go even further. People claim Mayweather's one of the best fighters ever. Do they not?
Yep.
Where was he undisputed at?
Nowhere.
Manny Pacquiao. They say he's one of the greatest fighters ever. Where was he undisputed at?
Nowhere.
But why do they consider them one of the best ever? Because of the guys that they beat.
Well, also marketing. They say Manny Pacquiao is an 8th division champion. No, he's not. But then they want to compare it to Henry Armstrong. But also, it's like all of these divisions that creeped up that didn't used to exist, right? So if you just say 8 divisions, that sounds fucking great. But then when you go, hey, you know what? There used to be only 8 divisions. Let me see him become.
I knew it.
Flyweight to fucking heavyweight.
I knew it wasn't Larry Holmes. That's why I was asking. I had to look it up.
Yeah, no, I said I wasn't sure. I said I also wasn't sure about Larry Holmes because I know Larry Holmes was.
He beat. No. I'm about to tell you.
He lost the WBC to Tyson, and then became champion again with the IBF.
Right, but he was already undisputed when he fought Larry Holmes. It was Tony Tucker. I thought in my mind it was Tyrell Biggs who he beat to become undisputed.
Right,
but the fight before that, because he fought Biggs, then he fought Holmes. But the fight before that, Tony Tucker's who he beat to be undisputed. But my point was, you're on who knows how many panels. I jump over the panels. We talk about boxing.
Still got it wrong. Still got it wrong.
We could not remember who he got undisputed from.
No.
And
I mean, I got to tell you, but I mean, in my own defense, I was not a Mike Tyson fan. I was an Ali fanboy, and I didn't really like another heavyweight until Lennox Lewis.
So Charles D, Smoke and correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's 23 either reigning or ex-world champions Mayweather beat.
Yeah, but even that is some fucking game. Like you, of course, if you have 2 more fucking sanctioning bodies and a bunch more division added, of course you're gonna get more champions.
Right.
That is like the added effect of that shit.
But what I'm saying is it was 23, not 19.
Yeah. No, I got you. I was just talking about
the actual number. I believe it's 23 that he beat.
Yeah, I believe it's 23 too. I think I counted him a couple of times. That sounds right. I know, like over 20, like 20 something.
Yeah, and I think Manny beat 21 or 22, and he would have tied Mayweather had he beat Earl Spence. Ugas, because the Spence fight didn't happen, of course. Had he beat Ugas, well, Ugas didn't have a title, but he did have a title before, so yeah, that would have counted. So yeah, he would have tied Mayweather if he would have beat Ugas, but of course, we saw what happened in that fight. He lost.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, I have to come back full circle to Undisputed is great, but when I hear somebody say, I'm fighting for legacy, is not only being undisputed, yes, that is good for your legacy. I'm not taking that away. But what's better? Just hear me out. 20 years from now, what sounds better? Devin Haney beat George Kambosos or Devin Haney beat Tank Davis?
I don't know. At this point, they both sound okay because I think George Kambosos, probably his tree is a little bit better, and it'd take some hardcore digging to find out that Isaac Cruz was a top 10 ring guy, or Gamboa. Gamboa's pretty good. Gamboa's up there. He's all right. I don't know. It's like those guys are pretty.
I'm just telling you, if Kambosos,
I don't know. Yeah.
If Kambosos does not get the rematch with Haynie, let's say you're right, vacated, he moves up, and the rematch never happens. It's highly likely that Kambosos turns into a flash in the pan, like I believe Tio is going to turn into, and that's it. He won't be a Hall of Fame fighter. He won't be remembered. So
who won't?
Kambosos.
Oh, Kambosos is not going to be a Hall of Fame fighter at all. He's going to be.
But there's a possibility.
It was a better man on the night.
But my thing is this: there's a possibility Tank will be.
There's a possibility that what?
That Tank will be a Hall of Famer.
Yes, there is a possibility that.
But that's what my point is. So 20 years from now, if Kambosos goes on to do nothing else with his career but have that one win, and Haney beats Tank Davis, the Tank Davis win is going to age way better than beating George.
Okay, so here's why that isn't the case, right? In my opinion, my humble opinion, it is the Lone Star Cobra, Donald Curry. We're going right back to what you're saying. Who the fuck did this guy get undisputed with? Like, you might know who he lost it to, right? Or even a better one, Lloyd Hunnigan, the guy that beat Donald Curry to become undisputed, right? Like, Lloyd Hunnigan didn't go on to do anything. Yeah, he was undisputed off beating Donald Curry, but it's not like he made the Hall afterwards. But Donald Curry was able to make the Hall, even though he was getting his ass whooped from 147 all the way to 160 after that. Getting fucking slapped by Michael Nunn and fucking Mike McCallum and all this shit. This dude's just getting his ass whooped. But he still made the Hall off of that fucking run he had at 147. Even though, you're going to be hard pressed.
Kambosos had no run. Kambosos had no run. He was 2 steps. He was 2 steps away from the start line. And
that's the thing. The thing is Devin Haney did have a run. Because Linares was a long-reigning champion. JoJo was in there with long-reigning champions, and he beat one long-reigning champion, a long-reigning active champion too, right? I don't know, and now he's been undisputed. I think if I'm pretty sure that Devin Haney can go up to 140 pounds, whoop Teofimo Lopez, and probably like and maybe get a belt, off of somebody, some Jack Catterall or some shit like that at 140. Once
That would be a good fight.
once Taylor relinquishes the belts, you fight Jack Catterall, and then
I can't see Haynie surviving against like a Regis Prograis.
Yeah, I don't even think it's gonna. He doesn't need to fight Regis Prograis though to get it to become like a 3-belt champion, right?
But here's
he
the
can
problem.
He can fight the Akhmedovs or the fucking Catteralls or the Sandor Martins or whatever the fuck.
That's only if. I'm sorry, I just saw I had a private chat from AJ. That's only if Taylor vacates, which I don't know if he's gonna do because he was supposed to go to 147. He decided, no, I'm not gonna do that. And at the same time, decided, nah, I'm not going to give Catterall a rematch.
And he's also dropped one of the belts because he didn't defend it against the mandatory. And right now, he's going to talk for another mandatory.
No,
that
but
he hasn't made the fight with for that one either.
He had to drop the belt because he wouldn't fight Catterall. But here's the flip side to the coin. He said that he was fighting his other Mando, so he wouldn't have to drop a belt. So either way it went, had he done the rematch, he still had to drop one belt. You could tell, like, I always was big on Josh Taylor, but you don't really know what these dudes are made of until they get beat up, hurt, or lose. And to me, he's scary. He's scared to get back in the ring with him. I don't care who he's beat. I don't care if he became undisputed. The first time he showed a lot of vulnerabilities, he's running from it.
Well, here's the thing. I think the guy is just waiting out the undisputed fight at 147, so he can get one of those 8 slots once either Bud or Spence moves up and they vacate, right? And then right now there's 2 slots open at 140 for a championship fight, but pretty soon there's gonna be 6 more. That's what I'm thinking. And I think he can get one of those dudes that's gonna be competing. I think he can get one of those 6 slots.
I mean, no matter what it is, if he can remain undisputed, he'll get a title shot when he moves up. It's just, is it going to be for undisputed again, or are they going to vacate and go up? I don't know.
No, I don't think he's going to try to. I don't even think he's going to try to become undisputed at 140. Devin Haney.
I don't think Earl Spence or Terrence Crawford can navigate to titles at 154.
Navigate the title, but Charlo's moving up also. They're not going to be navigating this shit. They're going to be the biggest names in the fucking division. Both of them.
Here's the thing. Charlo has a real task in front of him against Tim Tszyu. Charlo has to beat him, okay?
He doesn't. He can move up. Then
He could, but if he stays, he's got to fight Tim Tszyu. He has to. By the time Earl Spence moves up, if Charlo moves up, in turn the other Charlo moves up, then those vacated titles, Tim Tszyu will at least have one. Fandora will more than likely have one. Castaño will probably regain one. And then possibly somebody gets another one. But I still think it's a very hard division for either one of them to navigate.
Right. So here's the thing. Here's what I would. All right. So gaming this out. Let's say Charlo fights Tszyu. That would satisfy the WBO mandatory, and the next fucking shot you would get would be like a year and a half from there, right?
Right.
So if you exercise as an undisputed guy the WBO exemption, right, so you can move up and challenge for the title, you would be first in line for Mando. You get your shot in a year and a half. Now you have 2, possibly 3 fights that you can use to acclimate yourself to the weight to fight for Tim Tszyu or whoever beats Tim Tszyu, or if it unifies the belt or whatever the fuck. But you'd be the WBO Mando and you'd be acclimated to the weight. Right? That's my thought process when it comes to like the moving up and all the particular slots. I feel like Fandora is gonna have one of those belts. I feel like Tim Tszyu is probably gonna have one of those belts. And like you said, possibly Castaño. Depending on what is Castaño, the WBA? No, he's a WBO. So if Charlo vacated, I would expect there to be a Castaño versus Tim Tszyu fight, which I think Castaño wins.
if Castano wants to go for the WBO. If they're all vacated, as highly ranked as he was.
No, I'm just saying that's where he was ranked, right? He was the WBO champ.
Right. But what I'm saying is, because he was in 2 undisputed fights, he doesn't per se have to fight for that belt. He could get ranked in another sanction.
No, he could definitely get ranked. I'm just saying that I don't think he has to jump the line in any of those other things. Like he doesn't have to jump the line of the WBO. Is my only point.
My only point
because he wasn't competing in those other sanctioning bodies.
Right.
As soon as he got the WBO, I don't know where he was before the Teixeira fight. If he was ranked in all 4 sanctioning bodies, but once he beat Teixeira, he was no longer ranked in those sanctioning bodies. He just was a WBO guy. So I don't know if he's like afterwards. Like we can look it up right now, actually.
Look it up, see where he's at, because my mindset is this: he's not going to want to fight Tim Tszyu for the vacated title. He's going to want to go for a title that he knows he's going to at least win. And that Tim Tszyu fight is not a fight that he knows he's going to win. Because if he loses to Tim Tszyu, there's a possibility he never gets another title. So why go for Tim Tszyu when you could just jump over?
Yeah. All right. So right now Castano is the #1 ranked guy in the WBO.
Okay.
And then let's see where he is in other sanctioning bodies. Hold up.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the ring. That's not even the sanctioning body. That's the ring. Sorry, fuck that. All right. What the fuck? I want to see all of them. I don't want to just see rings.
And that's assuming that these sanctioning bodies have updated their pages because they're notorious for not doing it.
All right, here we go. Super welterweight. We got ring the WBO. Actually, Tim Tszyu is the #1 guy, and Castano's number 6.
Okay.
Castano's #1 in the. No, that's ring. Okay, hold up. I already said that.
You got to go WBA.
Yeah. I'm going to IBF now. Yeah, I'm on Box Live. It's like you got to scroll down through this.
Okay.
IBF. Tszyu is number 3. What the fuck is Castano? Castano is not in the IBF at all.
All right.
Castano is not in the WBC. Where is he? Is he? No, Harrison, Lubin, Conwell. Nope. He's not in the WBC. Let's see if he's in the WBA. Yes, he's in the WBA. He's in the WBA ranked as number 7, and he's in the WBO ranked as 5.
Or I thought you said 6 in the WBO.
Oh, 6? Was it 6? Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me go back up.
So he's 7 and 6.
Go back up.
So he can go either way.
WBO 1, 2, 3. Yeah, rank 6. Yeah, 6 in WBO.
So he could go for the O or the A possibly, whichever route he wanted to go. Because there's a strong possibility if the WBA's vacated, he could get the first shot at that title and just skip the WBO and skip Tim Tszyu. Because I think Fandora is #1 in the WBC, right?
I can look it up. In the WBA, the guys in front of him, because the WBA, the third spot. Okay, no, it's not vacant. It's good. The WBA got some fucking lame ass fucking wow. You got #1 is Madrimov, #2 is Soro, #3 Gonzalez. I don't even know who the fuck that is. Then Smith. That's Liam Smith, and then Metcalf, Sissoko. Then Castano. So in front of him is that Sissoko, Metcalf, Smith, Gonzalez, Soro, and Madrimov.
What about WBC? Is Fandora #1?
In WBC, Fandora, yeah, he's #1.
That's
he
what
is.
No, I just want.
No, he's not #1. He's the interim.
Yeah,
#1 is Harrison.
That's #1. That's
no, #1 is Harrison. All the champions are outside the rankings.
Right, but interim is the mandatory.
Right. So he's gonna be right. So if you're gonna be really what it is if Charlo vacates, he becomes a champion.
He does. Or if Charlo goes to jail or dies or anything like that.
Yeah, he becomes a champion. But
right.
but they may make Harrison fight Fandora if they make a fight happen.
Man, Tony needs to stay away from that fight.
Yeah, he does.
Fight.
So does Tim Tszyu. Like both of those dudes are like nah.
Well, the only thing about Tim Tszyu is he has enough power that he may be able to take advantage of Fondora because he gets so close.
That's
But
literally what he doesn't have.
Tim Tszyu
When he
has
has
a lot of
like
power.
Tim Tszyu has a high work rate. He has a lot of heart. He has a good chin.
How
But
many
power is like if he had power,
How many
then
knockouts?
a million motherfucking punches wouldn't be necessary,
How many
and the guy
knockouts?
shouldn't still be around.
How many knockouts does he have?
Yeah, I mean, how many? But it's kind of like who's he knocking out is more the issue.
How
So
many knockouts does he have?
Let me see.
And how many fights? Go ahead and say.
Now I'm Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu has. Let's see. He has 15 knockouts out of 21 fights. Let's see what he's looking like. One guy was 1-2-1. Another guy, no, actually, you did that one. Another
Look
guy
at his most recent fights. Look at his most
4-12.
Do his last 5 fights.
3-6. But this is where he's getting his knockouts.
No, I'm saying only look at his last 5 fights. How did he?
His last 5 fights, he has 3 have been by stoppage, and 2 have gone the distance. It's Dennis Hogan, right? Bowen Morgan, and Jeff Horn. Those are the guys he's knocking out.
Jeff Horn's a beast. Pacquiao couldn't stop him.
Jeff Horn's been stopped by somebody else that was not a beast.
I think Tim Tszyu has very good power.
Jeff Horn, like, Michael Zarafa, nobody would accuse that guy of being beastly. Beast-esque, beast-like, beast adjacent. Like,
wasn't Zarafa like the #1 guy in Australia?
No, it was supposed to be Jeff Horn, but no, even that Michael Zarafa, like, anyway, Michael Zarafa is not beastly.
I thought Zarafa was #1 in Australia before Tszyu beat him.
I mean, he might be. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, though.
No, I'm just saying that. I'm
like
pretty
the
sure.
Maloney brothers are #1 in Australia, like in their respective. Like, what does that mean? It means Australia's kind of lame. I mean, thin for talent, not lame, but they're just like, you know, they're not very good. Like being the #1 guy in Turkey was like Sefer Safari, right?
Actually, I mean, one was a champion, the other one got his ass whooped by Inoue, but everybody getting their ass whooped by Inoue. So.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It's just like, I mean, #1 in Australia is not like necessarily beastly. Like,
just speaking of the name, I know it's a change of topic, but because I said if I got Inoue as my #2 pound for pound, by far #2.
All right, whichever. I'm not I
got Crawford,
but he should be there. He definitely should be. He's definitely pound for pound #10, somewhere in #10, somewhere in 10.
I don't know if I put Devin in #10 because here's the thing about.
I'm talking about Monster.
Oh, Inoue. I thought you said Devin. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying like Monster. He should be somewhere. I was saying definitely, not Devin. He should definitely be top 10. Wherever you put him is, that's you. But he should definitely be in everybody's top 10.
I got him #2 by far. I think if the word is skills pays the bills, I think he is right up there.
He's not bad. Don't get me wrong. I feel like I don't know that he can fight going backwards. I think he opens himself up. But like whatever whatever deficiencies he has, his punching power is covering all that shit up. Hold on 1 second. I got a phone call.
No, you good.
Hello?
Mute your mic. We can hear your conversation. But yeah, anyways, as I was saying, I got Terrence Crawford while he's on the phone. I've got Terrence Crawford #1 pound for pound. I've got Inoue #2. For sure. Nobody, in my opinion, is better than Inoue. And as I was saying, if Terrence Crawford loses to Earl Spence, I'm moving Inoue to #1. Got to do it. I think regardless of let me point it this way, regardless of the deficiencies Smoke says Inoue has, watching him, I don't see a lot of deficiencies. Every fighter has some, But
I don't either. I don't either. It's just that for me, and this may be just me being spoiled. And as a boxing fan, I had Bud being number 1, Loma being number 2, and Canelo being number 3 for so fucking long.
Yeah,
I think I'm like spoiled on skills kind of thing. Whereas Monster is, the dude's accuracy, his shot selection has improved tons. He always had fucking pop. I just don't know he's a complete fighter these guys because he's getting these fucking dudes out of there. That Maloney fight, he didn't really present the challenge. He was just kind of slapping him around the ring. But Maloney was he was boxing with him. He was hanging with him, even though he was dinking all behind her. I don't know. He was way behind fucking Monster on the in terms of skill level. But I don't know who would I just don't know who can challenge the guy down there. He cracks too motherfucking hard. And those guys.
Well, he's gonna move up. He'll move up. He'll go for Undisputed.
Yeah, here's the thing. If he let's say he's able to do, I don't know, man. The Cool Boy Steph, that's a hell of a fight for him at 122. And I just have to see him. I find it hard to believe that he is the second best boxer on the face of the earth.
You realize, though, Smoke, that this is his third weight class that he's in.
Yeah, but those weight classes are 3 pounds difference and shit like that. And that's what I mean by divisions. It sounds hot to say it's a new division, but with all these tweener fucking divisions, what does that fucking really mean? It's not like you had to jump 7 pounds or 10 pounds or 12 pounds. You jumped 3 fucking pounds. You had to take it done. That's literally taking the shit and being in the lower weight division.
But what is going from 126 to 130? That's only 4 pounds.
Yeah, I don't mind the 126 to 130.
What is 122 to 126? It's only 4
right.
pounds.
That's what I'm saying. That's all that tweener shit. That's what I'm saying. They started those fucking tweener things, going to 126 to 135. Now we're talking.
But my thing is this. When I think of the lower weight classes, right? His comparables, his peers, the only one that comes to mind is 2. Navarrete, which in my opinion, as dominant as he looks right now, he loses by default because he lost early in his career. He's not an undefeated fighter, and I will never put undefeated fighter underneath a guy who has a loss, no matter how dominant that guy's looking at this moment. So what if
the guy you took a loss from is Hall of Famer ATG, and the guy who's undefeated no, I'm just saying just as a methodology point. If the guy you took it, you fought tough against a guy who's an ATG Hall of Famer thing, whereas the undefeated guy has been fighting basically cans, guys that tailor made for you to look good.
But here's the thing: I would never put a guy who's only beating cans on my pound for pound.
Okay, right, I got you.
That's why
I got you.
That's why I'm limiting his peers to only 2 people in the lower weight classes that I see at the moment that I would truly compare him to, looking at what they do on a skill wise. Navarrete is pure, I'm gonna take your head off aggression, but gosh damn, he does it good. It's not like I'm brawling you. He technically destroys people with pure aggression. So I got to put him up there, highly skilled for the way that he's so aggressive and attacks and so good with it. Then the only other person I could think of is Shakur Stevenson. Now, Shakur is a good candidate to be up there with Inoue, but Inoue, in my opinion, has done more. He's beat more champions. He's been a champion in more weight classes and soon to be undisputed. As good as Shakur looks, I don't think he's better than Inoue at this moment. So that's how I look at Inoue and his peers. Nobody else I put up there with them but those 3 fighters, or 2 fighters, excuse me. I group those 3 as peers. Although they're in different weight classes, Navarrete above Inoue and Shakur above Navarrete. Which is really the fight I want to see. I want to see Navarrete come up and wait and fight Shakur Stevenson. I think that's the fight. That's the only fight that I don't know if Shakur could walk away with the win in. I favor Shakur, but I don't know if he beats him. You still there, Smoke? Because I don't hear you talking if you are. I don't know if he's there or not. But anyways, as I was saying to the people listening, Shakur, in my opinion, I've said it a million times, I think Shakur is going to be the next as close as we get to Mayweather as far as defense and accuracy goes. But I still think NEOA is better, pound for pound. I think if Shakur and NEOA were scaled to the same size, Shakur loses the NEOA. I think both of them lose to Terrence Crawford, though. Smoke, you still with me? We're about to end the stream soon. I really was only coming on here to do a quick one. Saw Knockout come in here, who I owe push-ups to, but he didn't even stay. All right, I'm going to give Smoke like 2-3 more minutes to come back. If he doesn't come back, we're going to end the stream here to the playback. I appreciate y'all listening. Again, this really went on some, he went up to Smoke. This went on some real big tangents, and we diverted from the topic. But the topic is, I'm saying it, I agree with it, and the fact is...
Give me 1 second, Tony, but I hear you cooking. Yeah, we're diverting from the topic. Yeah,
No. You're good. But the point is, regardless how I did my scorecard, regardless how I feel, Devin Haney is the man of 135. He is undisputed. There's no disputing. I'm not disputing the fact that he won. Even though I disagree with it on my scorecard, I'm not disputing it. He won. He got the victory. He did it in enemy territory, and he deserves all his roses. He really does. 1,000%. He deserves all the credit in the world for going over there, taking a fight, possibly doing it without his dad, doing it without Ben Davison, doing it without his cut man. Like, he deserves all the credit in the world. So, until Devin is beat, there is nobody, not Lomachenko, there is nobody that is the man of 135 until Devin is beat or he leaves the division. Not Tank Davis in whatever weight class he's going to fight at. I like Tank. I think it'd be a good fight. But I mean, Tank may be an easy fight for Devin because he's so short. That might be just another, I'm just going to jab you. Tank might not be able to get off shots. Although I think on his feet, Tank is a lot faster than George Kambosos. I think foot speed, the advantage goes to Tank, which is something that you need when you're hunting somebody down. But hand speed, I think Kambosos beats him there in combinations. I think he's faster than Tank. Power, Tank all day has way more power than George Kambosos. I have no doubt in my mind that if Tank can land cleanly on Devin, he could hurt him. Will he drop him? I don't know. We've never seen Devin drop. So I'm not going to say that Tank could drop him, but I'm not going to say that Tank could knock him out because we haven't seen Devin drop. We've seen him hurt badly, but we didn't see him go down. So I honestly think that I would favor Devin Haney against Tank Davis. Now, the other one who people will disagree with me about, the wild card that nobody likes, and it's just nobody should like him because of the shit that he says, the shit that he does. But I've said it from day one. I think Ryan Garcia on any given night could be any of the guys at 135. I think Ryan Garcia is the most talented of them all. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the heart of a Devin Haney. Devin Haney beats him night and day in heart, determination, drive, work ethic. Anything along those lines, you got to give it to Devin Haney all day long. But if Ryan was a full-time boxer, which I know he's not, I believe he's just more talented than all the guys at 135. I think he beats Lomachenko. I was saying that he would knock out Teofimo Lopez. I think he'll knock out Tank Davis with a left hook. I think he'll beat Devin on points.
Who are we talking about?
Somebody you're going to disagree with heavily. I was saying that.
No, I just wondering which guy. I didn't want to interrupt your train of thought. I just was wondering which guy.
No. All I was saying was the only guy that I believe that could beat Devin Haney, the only one that has a chance is Ryan Garcia. That's it.
Holy fuck. Yeah, nah, bro.
I don't think Tank can beat him.
I think Tank could beat Devin. I don't think Ryan Garcia can beat any of the guys. I think Lomachenko beats Ryan. I think Tank beats Ryan. I think Shakur beats Ryan. I think Devin beats Ryan. The problem with Ryan Garcia, he has two pros when it comes to Tank. A weak chin and bad footwork. His footwork is the reason why he won't be fucking elite. Like, he has to wait for one of these other guys who don't have elite feet because he's not going to beat him. His shit is fucking trash. Like, it's not even good. Like he has enough chin that he could stand up to Devin Haney's power, but Devin Haney is going to box circles around this dude because his feet are good. How? Right, because Ryan Garcia's feet are fucking trash.
Okay. Hold that thought. What is the amateurs more geared towards? A power puncher or a masterful boxer?
It depends.
There's no depends. It's somebody.
Listen, there's a reason why fucking Deontay Wilder in one fucking year of tournament experience went away with a bronze medal. It wasn't because of his elite boxing, but it's also a reason why Lomachenko and fucking Rigondeaux are two-time gold medal, and it's not because necessarily the power.
Right.
It just depends.
It really doesn't, because the Deontay Wilders in amateur boxing are very limited and rare. The Mike Tysons in amateur boxing are very limited and rare. The fact of the matter is, it's set up for people who are very skilled, who may not be power punchers, because power punchers are at a disadvantage. If the knockout is your game, it's much harder to knock people out in 12-ounce gloves. It's much harder to knock them out when they've got headgear on to go with those 12-ounce gloves.
But it's also easier to get knockouts, though. Like, what they consider a knockout, like, they'll stop that shit in a heartbeat if you just get hit clean. Like, you're not necessarily like a knockout in the amateurs is not really fucking knocked out.
It depends on where you're amateur fighting, because they sure as hell don't stop shit off of hard shots in New York. They sure.
Well, I mean, not in the Golden Gloves, but in the USBA shit, like those tourneys, like, yeah, man, they'll stop some shit off of some nothing.
If you over there in like Nebraska or Indiana or Kentucky, then maybe, yeah, like one hard shot, they stop it. But if you're up in New York, they don't stop. Nah, fuck no. Fuck no. You got to be dazed for them to step in and wave it off. That's the only way. They don't babysit you in New York in the amateurs. But I digress. The point is this. The amateurs is more designed for Clarissa Shields than it is for Savannah Marshall, who should and hopefully will fight. It's more designed that way. Even though Marshall beat Shields, it's still in the advantage for Shields. The more cleaner, crisper boxer that doesn't purely rely on power. If they do have power, then it's great. You're all the better. But my point is this, to get to the point. They fought 6 times in the amateurs. They're 3 for 3, which tells me when Ryan Garcia was neutralized of his power, he boxed with Haynie. Granted, that was a long time ago. Granted, people evolve as they have more and more fights. But at the core baseline of where they started, I know that all this power that Ryan has, he didn't have to rely on to beat Haynie 3 out of 6 times. So,
but there's, like you said, there's a long time ago, and I think you're drawing a whole bunch of conclusions from a data set that does not show. That maybe even an outdated data set. Like, it's like, so 2 things. Devin Haney is not the puncher that he used to be because he's got fucking surgery. And you saw the dude's power. He went from breaking faces and knocking dudes out to like pretty much pillow fisted. But beyond that, you can see, but beyond that, you can even see from I mean, you can go back to the Moran fights to like, you know, to fucking Jojo Diaz, and you'll see the the evolution of his game, specifically when it comes to his feet, right? And like let's put the George Kambosos to one side. We don't even have to do the George Kambosos, but if you're just comparing the footwork of their last two fights, like let's go Jojo Diaz versus Emmanuel to go, right? The reason why, and this is why I say the guy has trash feet. Not only does he square up, not only does he have his feet together sometimes, but when he throws his fucking rear hand, his power shot, he was throwing that shit so hard that his back foot would leave the fucking canvas, and he was falling into to go. So when he actually collapsed the pocket, when he actually got close to go, he couldn't do anything about it because his feet were in the fucking wrong place. So he started to swipe him. So all to go did all fucking night long was just fucking circle out. Because he couldn't. But you know why he was able to run?
Right.
Because fucking Ryan Garcia does not have the footwork to cut off the ring.
Incorrect. I disagree with that.
That is not incorrect. That is literally the only reason why he was able to get out over and over again. That was one of two reasons why.
No, Mike Tyson had some of the best footwork that's ever been in boxing. He had some of the greatest speed that's ever been seen in the heavyweight division, which is never talked about. And even he couldn't cut off the ring when he got in there with guys who ran from him. They ran.
Well, it depends on which stage you're talking about.
Huh?
It depends on which stage you're talking about.
In his early career, where he was knocking everybody.
Yeah, exactly. They weren't running away from him. They didn't get away. That's the whole point.
They did.
I think Tucker might have gone, but anyway, they weren't running from him. Anyway, that's not even the point. Whether or not Mike Tyson
definitely watch his replays early in his career. He did not knock everybody out. He knocked mostly everybody out.
Yeah, but you're saying the reason why he knocked them out is because they're running, and I'm saying that didn't happen.
They were moving from.
Okay, name the guy. Name the guy. I'll look it up right fucking now. I'll look at the fight right now, so we don't have to do this. This is a conversation between two boxing heads. I'm just saying that nobody got away from Mike Tyson. Nothing went. I don't remember in his early career how a fight went to the cards because of a guy was running. I knew there was guys who could take his shots.
Nope.
I remember a guy running.
I'm telling you, look it up.
I'm asking you, who are you talking about? Anyway, I'm just saying, Julio Cesar Chavez, there's guys who are excellent in getting away from people that could not get away from him, right? I felt like Pernell Whitaker is one of the best lateral movers to ever fucking step in the ring. I felt like he beat fucking Julio Cesar Chavez, but Julio Cesar Chavez cut off the ring against the great Pernell Whitaker.
Okay. The difference is Pernell Whitaker would try to fight you. He would try to win. When a guy has it in his mind not to win, to just get the fuck out, it's very hard to hit them, and it's very hard to look spectacular doing when they refuse to engage at all points of time of the fight. To go was literally what his name was. He was to go. That's all he did. He didn't try to fight.
The issue
was win.
Right. The issue though is there's times when Ryan was able to collapse the distance and be in punching range, but his feet weren't in the fucking correct place, so he couldn't throw the correct punch to exploit the fact that he finally got in range.
Again, I will say, not even Mike Tyson in his youth can knock everybody out.
Yeah, you say that. It's easy to say, but that don't have shit to do with Ryan Garcia, because Ryan Garcia does not have. First off, Ryan Garcia doesn't have Mike Tyson feet.
The reason why I'm bringing up Mike Tyson is because he's superior than Ryan Garcia in every fucking category, whether it's power, speed, technical.
Correct. I don't even know why you bring it up.
My point is this: if a guy who was way superior couldn't even knock guys out who ran from him, who refused to engage, one that comes to mind is Tillis. Look up the Tillis fight when you had time.
James Quick Tillis. Let's see James Quick Tillis. I remember Mike Tyson. I remember Mike Tyson putting hands and feet on that dude, not just chasing him around the ring.
I remember he ran around the ring for the whole
let's see.
second half. But I'm not going to stay on for much longer. I'm about to get off so you can watch it. Just look at his whole box rec.
I'm doing it right now.
And then looking at all the guys that he couldn't knock out and watch how they performed and why he
bro. That does not help fucking Ryan Garcia's feet get better. That helps in an argument about feet, whether or not you can shut off the ring against the guy. But what I'm telling you is, I've watched boxing long enough to understand that the reason why a guy gets to run around the ring is because you don't know how to cut off the fucking ring.
And what I'm trying to tell you is, when a guy refuses to fight you, like refuse to fight Ryan, you could have the best feet in the world and you're still not going to catch them.
Yeah, that is absolutely not true.
It absolutely is.
No, that is absolutely a reason why. Like, listen, Mike Tyson, first off, wouldn't even be my guy to be the best guy to cut off the ring. That's first off. He's pretty good at it, but he wouldn't even be my guy. I'm just telling you. When I talk about cutting off the ring,
a 5'10" heavyweight, only fighting guys 6'2", finding a way in to get him, wouldn't be your guy.
Because he didn't fight. He did not fight guys that use lateral movement like that. The heavyweights are not where you go for lateral movement. You're not unless you're Muhammad Ali. Why the fuck would you even use this division as the point I'm talking about? That's why I went to like lightweights and stuff. People who use lateral movement constantly. Like, you need to develop this skill because you're going to find people at those weight classes who use this thing. There's a million fucking to-goes out there. And if you wind up like the same thing with like Brian Adams and fucking your boy fucking Charlo. Yeah, that guy wasn't trying to engage. Yeah, but the issue was Charlo was so busy trying to knock this fool out, and you could tell that Charlo in that fight, you could see that he does not know how to cut the fucking ring off.
I'm telling you, you can
and
know
that's what happened in the Serrano match. We just saw from Armando Serrano and the fucking Katie Taylor fight. Right, once she got on her bike and started boxing her in circles, like started boxing her from lateral movement, you saw that Amanda Serrano didn't know how to cut off the fucking ring.
You could be the best at doing it, but if you have somebody who
is not the best
to engage,
bro, he's not the best, bro.
I'm not saying
Ryan Garcia's fucking feet are trash. Bro.
What I'm saying, I'm not saying he's the best. I'm
telling you, his feet are trash.
My point is this: you could be the best, not the worst. Where you're saying he's trash, I'm not.
Yes,
saying
he's
that.
trash.
What I'm saying
his feet are trash,
you
bro.
could be the best at cutting off the ring, and you're still.
I understand your argument. It doesn't apply to Ryan Garcia.
It does.
It doesn't even matter. It's a completely different conversation. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with your argument. That's first off. But second off, it doesn't have anything to do with Ryan Garcia.
It has everything to do with Ryan Garcia.
No, because Ryan Garcia does not have the footwork. He has terrible footwork.
It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. You're judging.
It's not irrelevant when you're talking about fighting Devin Haney.
You're judging him off of a fight where a guy.
No, I'm judging him off. I'm judging him off of every fight I've seen.
Was to go.
Correct. I just said let's pick their last two fights. I could have got. I also mentioned Luke Campbell. I could go back to even Citano. The guy he locks his knees. Literally, he's straight up and down.
Who stopped Luke Campbell before?
Okay, now you're talking about stopping him. We're talking about footwork.
No. Because footwork has to do with being able to be in range.
Okay, here you go. So footwork has a lot to do. Right. So there's a few things, right? So if you want to throw punches with speed, power, and accuracy, you must have the correct foot placement, right? But that is a complete different thing than footwork.
Smoke. If you cannot move your feet around the ring, how do you hit somebody at the top level?
Okay, they would be stationary. If they're stationary, then you don't have to do that because they're not going to be moving either. Like Luke Campbell, for instance.
Oh my goodness. You are discrediting how good of a boxer Luke Campbell actually is.
No, I'm not discrediting how good of a boxer is. We're only talking about footwork. There's more to boxing than just footwork.
But there's more to it than what you're giving him credit for.
He
stopped Luke Campbell.
All I'm saying to you is why Ryan Garcia will not be able to compete with Devin Haney. He does not have the feet for it.
How did he stop Fonseca?
Again, a guy. If you feel like Fonseca is elite, that's cool. But if you look at Ryan Garcia's footwork, it's fucking terrible. But he's made up for it with speed and power. Looks like Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao was so fucking fast and was so powerful that even when his feet were in the wrong position, he could still hurt you. Ryan is also a guy like that.
Who's gonna have the jabbing advantage against Haynie and Ryan?
Who's gonna have the jabbing advantage? I think Antoine Russell would. Off the top of my, I'm thinking about it.
I said between the two, Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia. Who has the jabbing advantage?
Devin Haney.
No.
Okay, whatever.
Devin Haney's arms, I believe his reach is slightly longer than Ryan's. However,
Okay.
he is significantly shorter, which means that when they actually get in there and Ryan's extended that shoulder.
Wait a minute. How tall is Ryan?
5'10".
He's 2 inches taller.
Devin's not 5'8".
I mean, that's what's listed.
I'm telling you, I thought Devin was tall because in every press conference, George Kambosos' head was about where my screen's cutting off my head, right? But when they both got in the ring, George Kambosos looked taller than Devin Haney. So I don't know if Devin Haney's wearing shoe lifts or what he's doing. But when he got in that ring with George Kambosos, that height advantage evaporated. It evaporated. He was not significantly taller than George.
Such a young fighter understands so well the importance of body punching.
So James Quick Tillis is definitely using lateral movement and he's hooking off the jab. He is certainly not running. Not like fucking to go. This is hell no. This ain't no fucking to go shit.
Second half of the fight, he goes into flight mode.
Okay, so I'm with you.
If you're not a boxing fan,
He's still jabbing him. This is
Stop playing it. Mute it.
He's standing straight up. This is the
Smoke.
Yeah.
You gotta mute the video.
Yeah. I got you.
Anyways, watch it all. The point I'm trying to make is Ryan is a lot better than what people are giving him credit for. And
He's not though, bro.
he is.
Now, I mean, I'm not talking about people. I'm talking about me. I'm only talking about me and footwork. Ryan Garcia. Let me tell you something about me, Tony. You may or may not understand. I'm a California guy, and I'm 10 toes down for fucking California boxing. Specifically, I made money out of fucking Victorville, which is a podunk motherfucking town in the armpit of California that nobody fucking knows about. It's the middle of fucking desert in the middle of fucking nowhere. If you're from Victorville, I'm going to fucking ride with you, right? I ride for fucking Ryan Garcia. And therefore, I pick him apart critically. I've been watching this dude's fight for a while now. The guy's feet are fucking garbage, bro. I'm telling you, you got the wrong shit. You're looking at the wrong shit when it comes to this thing. Look at my man's feet and then get back at me.
I'm telling you, it's highly likely that he hurts Devin Haney badly in that fight.
I mean,
highly likely.
Listen, I'm telling, and this is what I'm going to say. This is, and I'll just do this like this. I don't think Ryan Garcia wins a belt from any guy at the top guys right now. I think he could, if Kambosos came back, I don't know. Maybe he gets Kambosos because he does have fast fucking hands. He does have fucking pop.
He'll knock him out.
I don't know. I don't know. I think that in and out fucking thing that Kambosos does would fucking could likely confuse Ryan Garcia. But like Lomachenko, Tank Davis, Devin Haney, and I'm telling you, a 130 pounder in fucking Shakur. These are guys that Ryan Garcia will not beat. However fast your hands are, however hard you fucking punch, whatever your reflexes are, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like you got knocked me.
I hope the diva stops capping and actually does take boxing serious. I hope he does.
Dude. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, that's a whole nother fucking can of worms.
If he does, from day one, I have always said I believe Ryan is the most talented guy in the whole division. From day one,
no.
Before he started all the capping, I said
hell no.
You're
just on some shit that you just make these wild ass fucking proclamations, and then you go like there's no way on God's green earth that fucking Ryan Garcia is more talented than Tank Davis. No fucking way.
I'm telling you, he'll knock Tank out.
Yeah, I know you're saying that, but that makes absolutely no sense if you like. There's absolute. All right, first off, Luke Campbell is a like he did his best work as an amateur at 126 pounds.
Mario Barrios.
Let me finish my point, bro. Can I finish my point about Luke Campbell?
Go ahead.
Luke Campbell, his best work was as an amateur at 126 pounds. Mm-hmm. As a pro, he's dropped exactly nobody outside of Ryan fucking Garcia.
Okay.
Nobody. Like if that is to me the definition of a weak chin. Okay. It wasn't a flash knockdown. He hurt him. The guy, Luke Campbell, hurts nobody. He's been in there with fucking Linares. He didn't hurt Linares. He's been in there with guys who we define as guys who having weak chins.
So let me ask you a question. After he was hurt so bad, what did he go on to do?
That would show that he has fucking a heart and grit. That is not just a fucking walking headshot.
He went in to beat the living shit out of Luke Campbell after that knockout. Luke Campbell didn't have another moment in that fight after that round was over.
And you know what Luke Campbell also doesn't have? Great fucking footwork.
Oh gosh. I'm telling you. I understand that before NEOA won, I went on a 3-fight losing streak for predictions. I got it. Before I did that, I was on an 8-winning streak, correct?
Yeah, that's
now I'm back on target.
Yeah, but whatever, bro. Like, that doesn't matter.
My point is this. I understand that my predictions got real shaky to the point of where I'm like, oh shit, the gypsy curse is real. I'm never going to get another one right. That's how I felt. But the thing is this. What I look at is, if Ryan Garcia is dedicated.
Monster was a little bit of a gimme, though. Like, don't get your confidence up off that shit.
No, that was NEOA was not a gimme because Donaire broke his orbital bone in the first fight.
Yeah, but I mean, the first fight was 3 years ago. It's still a 39-year-old man. I mean, I get how you could, like, I was rooting for Monster. I mean, rooting for Nonito, but it would have been a huge upset, huge one.
He just beat 2 undefeated fighters in a row by
knocked out
an undefeated champion.
Listen, I'm not saying that it wasn't a good pick for an upset, but it still would have been an upset. I'm just saying that that's a gimme. That's not like one of those tough fights to pick.
I don't think Donaire is a gimme for any fighter who fights him. In fact,
that pick, I'm just talking about the pick was a gimme.
And I don't think it was because
but I'm just telling you that's an easy fucking pick. I'm trying to tell you, like, if Nonito would have won by decision, that was like 1,000 to 1 betting odds, right? And then if it to win by knockout, that was like 800 to 1. Again, a gigantic underdog.
Again, when Donaire beat him up worse than he's ever been beat up before in that first fight, inflicting more damage on NEOA than he's ever had inflicted on him to the point of breaking his orbital bone. I get it. It's not a gimme pick.
No, that was a gimme pick, bro. Like, I'm trying to tell you, bro. If you guys like, that was not like, I wonder if the new phenom, who's the only guy who hasn't stopped in 6 years, but he still beat the living shit out of, he could have like maybe even knocked him out if the rev didn't get in the way. It allow you, fighting a guy 3 years later who was old then. You're fighting him now 3 years later. Like, yeah, both of you guys, he's fought the better competition.
Who's
and maybe better than you in those things. But at the same time, the young guy hasn't even looked stressed in one single round. How is that like not a gimme? It's like, to me, that's not really that tough. Like, I was rooting for Nonito because he's out of the gym that taught me my boxing, right? So it's kind of like that was just the hometown hero pick. Like, I wasn't trying to make no predictions off that shit.
Look, Smoke, you can say what you want, but the fact remains, since he fought NEOA, he went on to beat 2 undefeated guys, one of them being a world champion, and sparked them both.
And what was NEOA doing? Sitting on his hands?
No, he also went on to win all his fights by knockout.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what I'm saying.
They both did the same.
Right, but one of them already beat the other guy.
I think,
and he was old then when he beat him then. Like, all he is older.
He didn't just have a walk in the park though when they fought.
No, he didn't. And it shouldn't. Like, I was very surprised at how easily he won. But that was more about Nonito's. I felt like Nonito made a serious blunder, a couple of serious blunders in that fight that cost him everything. One was trying to brawl, his penchant and his love to brawl. He hurt Monster. And he thought he had something sweet in front of him in the first round. And he pressed the guy. He pressed him too hard. And then he stood and punched him in the danger zone, not doing shit. Got hit with a temple shot, never recovered. But yeah. Well,
I
was a couple of fucking blunders.
I really think it was that left hook in the second round that really caused him to.
Now, he didn't know where the fuck he was. Like, so afterwards, and this is something else you may not know about me. In the lead up to the fight, I was talking to Nonito and Rachel a whole bunch about what happened in the first fight, what the strategy was, like how they're feeling about going in. And I talked to they did a live after the fight. And Nonito talked about how he didn't even know he got knocked down in the first round. He looked over and Rachel told him to put his gloves up, and that's how he knew he'd been knocked down. Like, he went in there, he talked about, like, he just got caught cold. He went in there, made a mistake, did not follow the game plan, tried to brawl, and got caught cold.
I got you, but my thing is this, Smoke. regardless how the fight played out,
Yeah.
I think it is disrespectful to say that that was a gimme to Donaire.
I'm talking about the pick. That's not that hard to pick.
I don't think that was a foregone conclusion prior to that fight that any old way would for sure win 100 out of 100.
No, I'm just saying like the smart money would be on Monster. That's all I'm saying. Like I'm not saying that Nonito's not a live dog. I'm not saying he's not a live dog. And then maybe that's your whole thing about the thing. Like you get it sounds like you get very adamant and certain about some shit that seems improbable at best.
No, I would not say it seems improbable at best, though.
I'm just saying, like
that's where our disconnect is. As good
that's
as
what I'm saying. Like,
did in the first fight, I think there was a high likelihood chance that he could have beat Inoue before that fight happened. But he didn't. He didn't. I think to say that the odds were 99% to 1% that he was going to lose.
Okay, so did you think that this was a 50-50 fight going in?
Did I think it was 50-50?
Yeah, Monster and Nonito.
I would say I thought it was about a 60-40.
There you go. So 60-40 going which way?
For Inoue, of course.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. Right. Pretty much a gimme.
But it's not a gimme because a 60-40 fight, the guy that's 40% to win can still win.
Yeah, he can still win, but even if it's 7-30, the guy who's 30 can still win. That doesn't mean anything. It could be 90-10. The guy can still win.
Regardless how you feel about it, I had Kambosos as a 60-40 favorite to Devin. He lost.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Right. So it's stuff like that, right? So it's stuff like that, and I feel like we can get into like the nuances of styles and like expertise and like levels because that's like a way more astute and that's way more about the expertise, right? Like that's a high level boxing conversation to get into why he's not going to be able to beat him. But Monster ain't that fucking. It ain't that hard. Monster hell of is not that hard as fucking Kambosos versus Haynie. Like as a pick, Kambosos versus Haynie was a way harder fucking pick than Monster versus Nonito.
I have to come back full circle to seeing how Donaire looked in the lead up to this fight. I cannot agree that that's a way harder pick to say that for sure Inoue was going to beat him, especially.
Well, I mean, you got Nonito right, you got Monster right, and you got Kambosos wrong. So I don't know. I don't know. I feel like the results are more like back my stand, like my
scorecard. Though I got them both right.
Right, but that's your scorecard. I mean, what do you want to just validate your own opinion? That's what I'm saying. Like, at what point do you go like, I know that, like, and that's what I'm saying. And this is my entire thing. At a certain point, you got to go, all right, this is me, and then this is what everyone else thinks, right? And then you sort of just reconcile the two things. That's what I try to do. I don't know. It's
already been reconciled. It's already been reconciled. I said Devin Haney won. I give him
but it's not even that. But I feel like the reason why you're saying this stuff is like shit. Like it's because the fix was in.
No.
Versus like.
Not at all. What I said, no, I never said the fix was in for Devin Haney. I never said that.
Oh, okay. What was that whole thing about like taking pictures and after the third round they stopped doing shit and all this other stuff?
What I said it was funny to me. Like the whole thing was comical to me because people were so scared that Devin Haney was going to get robbed, right? Which I thought was ridiculous in the first place. Because if you look at it financially, why would Bob Arum rob a guy who was one of Eddie Hearn's cash cows that he's now stolen? Why would he do that?
Because he couldn't do anything about it. Like Bob wasn't the guy putting the fight together, really. That was a Lou debate. It was really even a local Australian.
No. Bob Arum had a big thing to do with his fight getting made. A big part of it. Because without Bob, without Top Rank, this fight would have never happened. Period.
Definitely. Because they needed a broadcast in the United States. But I'm just saying that the lead promoter on this shit was Lou DeBella, and they both signed off a local promoter in Australia. But
Lou just had the guy with the straps.
Yeah.
Outside of that, he ain't really had shit to do with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. That's all I'm trying to tell you is when it came to picking the officials and all that shit, the pool of officials to choose from, Lou DeBella came up with that pool. But then they got to choose from this pool of guys, right? And I think they got even still the most favorable to Kambosos that they could under circumstances. Like, like they rejected the Greeks and the Australians, and one guy, I guess they gave it to Kambosos over Tio by a large margin. Like whatever that judge was, they rejected him, but they were still left with a whole bunch of after you gave the cherries for Kambosos, you were left with a whole bunch of inexperienced guys in fights on this level. So I don't know. I don't know about the
again. My thing was this. Yeah. I just thought it was funny. I thought the whole thing was comical that everybody was so scared that the fix was going to be in, but yet before the decision was even announced, Bob Arum was taking pictures with Devin Haney, which makes the most sense to me because Bob Arum wants Devin Haney to be with him for more than a 3-fight contract.
Right. But that's also because of your scorecard. By my scorecard, the actual thing would be everyone saw how easy that fucking fight was. All the scorecards were a mere fucking formality, and we could take our fucking photos.
But listen, if let's just say hypothetically, if a robbery happened and everybody was so scared of a robbery, then how was it foregone?
Right, people were scared of a robbery. All right, just because we are scared of a robbery doesn't mean that the people in the ring are scared of a robbery. Again, right? This is the storyline that some people in YTBC, and this is what we come up with, the hand wringing that we come up with beforehand, in the lead up to a fight. But also it was a holdover from the Jeff Horn Pacquiao fight. So
I don't care about that because
but I'm just saying that's why people on the YTBC.
Bob Arum, when it comes to fighters, is a piece of shit. All that had to do with is what Bob Arum always does. He already did it to Pacquiao once before whenever he routed him against Bradley because he thought Bradley was going to be the next thing. He did it again to him against Jeff Horn because he thought Jeff Horn was going to be the next thing. He did it to Walters when Walters fought Lomachenko because he fucking shelved him so he would be ring rusted by the time he got in the ring with Lomachenko because he thought Lomachenko would be the next thing.
You got a lot of – that's what I'm saying. So right now is a case in point of what I mean. You seem very certain about fucking things that could on its face be absurd. Like the idea that Jeff Horn is going to be the next big thing and you're Bob Arum seems implausible to my ears. Jeff Horn never, first off, the dude was a fucking school teacher. Secondly, he needed the ref in order to actually even make the fight close, right? He needed the ref to not call a whole bunch of fucking fouls. There's no way that you're going to be able to manufacture that guy into the next big thing.
Here's my thing. I disagree because Manny Pacquiao has been old for 30 years. You wanted, I'm telling you.
But that's not what I'm talking about.
Trying to trade him up for a bigger thing.
Right. I'm just saying, if you got Lomachenko and you got Terrence Crawford, why in the world would you think Jeff Horn was the next big thing?
Terrence Crawford wasn't in the weight class at that time. Number two, we know Terrence moved up to fight Jeff Horn, right? But again,
right after that fight, it was literally the very next fight.
But it's all could be in tangent with each other. You knock off Manny, supposedly Jeff Horn inherits the cash cow. Then it's the easy win for Terrence Crawford, who's way younger than Manny, who could take over.
So that's a better that is a way more plausible argument. There was robbing Pacquiao to give it to Crawford, but the idea that they thought Jeff Horn was going to be the guy, I think Bob knows boxing way fucking better.
I got you. But whether it was to set up an easy win for Terrence Crawford because he may have been scared that Manny may have pulled off the victory against Terrence, so you rob Manny with Jeff, then you let Terrence come in there and obliterate Jeff to make him.
I'm not saying it's not right, but I'm just saying.
What I'm saying is.
But you're saying it's a fact that happened.
I have seen shades of this, what appear to be allegedly, can't prove that he likes to try to upgrade to a different fighter for whatever reason. Because I feel like after Walters beat Donaire, that dude should have had the fucking world. And he didn't. He was given nothing. And then in my opinion, he was put in a circumstance to look bad against Lomachenko. Lomachenko was given every advantage to be built how Bob wanted him to be built. But here's the thing. As great as Lomachenko is, He's nowhere near the fighter that Manny was. He's nowhere near the fighter that Floyd was. He's just not one of them guys who can transcend several weight classes. He's not. He's very good. He's very talented. He's very skilled. Had he never moved up in weight, he probably would have never lost. But the higher up you go, when you start fighting guys who are much bigger than you, the harder it becomes to win and the more skilled you actually have to be. And he falls short when compared to guys like Manny or Mayweather, or even, I don't even think he's as good as Canelo. Because I've seen him in 3 weight classes. There's no way in fuck he could go up to 140 and be competitive at all. He would get sparked. So,
we're talking about Nicholas Walters, right?
What's that?
We're talking about Nicholas
No,
Walters,
I'm talking
right?
about Lomachenko.
Oh, Loma.
I'm saying Walter should have had the world, but instead he was given nothing. Shelved for Lomachenko, who was supposed to be the next Muhammad Ali, which is fucking stupid. Stupid to even make that comment because it's not even comparable. Like, this dude lost to a gatekeeper in his second fight. Regardless if it was for a title or not, it doesn't matter. There's no way Muhammad Ali would have ever got washed like that. Come on. Like, the writing was on the wall that Loma was highly skilled, but there's a cap. Every weight class.
Listen, I don't know that Floyd Patterson wouldn't have beat Cassius Clay in the second fight. I feel like he would have beat the fuck out of him. I think like Orlando Salido,
Trash.
You know, he'd been in there with some dudes. He's a former champion, and that was
on his way out.
Say again.
Of
course he was.
Out.
Of course he was. But also, Loma made the correct adjustments late. But that was the difference between a pro fighting dirty versus a guy who's been in the amateurs his whole life. That's what the difference was in that fight. Like, he made the adjustments, just not fast enough.
To me, it doesn't matter. If he was this great commodity, like they made him out,
I mean, they overhyped him. They overhyped.
He's overhyped. It doesn't matter how dirty Salido was.
And he's overrated. Like, here's the thing. I agree with you.
If Mayweather would have been in there with Salido, it doesn't matter how dirty Salido would have been. Mayweather would have beat him 100 out of 100 times. It wouldn't have fucking mattered. In fact, if it would have been young Mayweather, 9 times out of 10, he would have knocked his ass the fuck out.
But here's the problem. Here's the problem with the thing. Pacquiao got his ass whooped by guys whose names we don't know already early in his career. That just happens.
But Pacquiao's different.
Turned out to be great.
Pacquiao is different. He doesn't fall into a Lomachenko category. See, the difference with Pacquiao is Pacquiao had to lie about his age because he turned pro as a kid. He was still a teenager. I think he was 16. He had to lie to fight. So these no-name fighters that he lost against was when he was still a kid, a high schooler. So it's not the same as when you have a grown man in Lomachenko getting his ass whooped as you do when a 16, 17-year-old gets knocked out.
So let me ask you this, Tony. When did he stop lying about his age?
Manny?
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to say at some point they caught it because they brought it up several times.
Because all they talk about is his age. I don't know. It seems, I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. I hear what you're saying. Because I agree with the overall thing. Even if I take like some exception to your examples, I agree with your point that Lomachenko is over fucking rated and overhyped. Especially early on.
He was 16. I was right. 16 years old. And he lied. He said he was 18. They lied on all his documents so he could go pro at 16. So again, like I said,
that's when he went. That's when he turned pro. But he didn't lose those fights when he turned pro. He lost those fights when he became a sanctioned fighter.
When he got his first knockout was super early in his career. His loss was super early.
I know. I'm just saying it was before he got sanctioned fights, though. I'm saying, but there was still a sanctioned bout that one. He was fighting in the Philippines in unsanctioned fights when he turned pro.
He's been boxing for so damn long. We're gonna have to pull up when he first lost.
Let's see. Let me see. Pacquiao.
96. He was 17 years old. He was 17 when he lost to somebody we don't know. And then he lost again at 19 years old.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a different thing.
After he became a man, he did not have a legitimate loss until Eric Morales. And Eric Morales is the reason why he didn't like giving blood. That was the reason why, because he came up with an excuse. After he lost to Morales, they said they tested him for steroids. They withdrew his blood right before he walked out, and he felt dizzy and loopy, and that's why he accredited the loss. Come the rematch, he didn't allow them to do that, and he beats the shit out of Morales.
That sounds like entire cap, but it sounds good. Whatever.
Look it up. That's what he said, though.
I don't care what he said, bro. It sounds like a fucking lie. You know, I can look up Wilder saying he thought he had fucking egg weights in dudes' wells. Who the fuck cares?
But
that sounds like fucking a horrible excuse.
Smoke. Here's the difference. The egg weights never happened. That cannot be factually.
Yeah, bro. If somebody tells you we want you to fucking draw blood to make sure you're not on steroids, and you say, yeah, the only time when I was taking drug tests, I lost a fight. It sounds like a fucking excuse, bro.
That's not what I'm telling you.
It's what you said. You're just quoting what he said. Listen, I get it.
It is a fact that before he walked out to fight, they took blood out of him. It is
what?
There's factual documents for the amount of blood that they took.
So what, bro? Do you not understand that Manny Pacquiao never had a loss that he tried to make an excuse about until he got knocked the fuck out by Marquez?
He did have an excuse. Look it up.
For all of his excuses. And like all of his losses. He says something like, oh, the reason why that loss was blah, blah, blah. It had nothing to do with the fact that the guy was beating the shit out of you. You didn't look fucking dizzy in the fight.
Look, all I can tell you is what he stated, what has factually been proven, that they took his blood right before he walked out.
Yeah, no shit. So what? They took blood before he fought. They take blood from both guys.
No, they didn't. They only did it from him.
Okay, what it says who?
Look it up. You can research it.
Bro, I'm trying to tell you, this is how fucking blood testing works. They don't just take blood from one guy.
What I'm telling you is, if you research it and you look up the facts around it, Morales did not have to give blood before going out to fight.
Absolute bullshit, dude. Absolute bullshit. Whatever.
Google it. Just Google it. You can literally.
Bro, I'm not going for a fucking wild goose chase behind some dumb shit, bro. I don't give a fuck, really. I got to tell you, like, this shit is the dumbest shit ever. Like, this is just fucking. This is cuckoo land.
No, what was cuckoo land is egg weights, poison water, a fist in the wrist, etc. That was cuckoo. That was something that. Or no autopsy report. That's cuckoo land. When somebody has factual documents of it happening, that's not cuckoo land. That's a fact.
Yeah, but they don't. That's my whole point. This is bullshit.
They do.
They don't.
Bro, Google it. You can.
What? Google what, dude? Eric Morales didn't have to give blood, but Pacquiao did. Like,
look up the circumstances around it.
Yeah,
all you gotta do is Eric Morales versus Manny Pacquiao won, and look it up. And it'll tell you. It'll tell you everything you need to know.
It will tell me, right?
The point is this. Lomachenko was never and is not as good as Manny Pacquiao. He doesn't hold a candle.
Yeah, let's get back to that. Yeah.
He doesn't hold a candle to Floyd Mayweather Jr.
No, not at all. Yes, I agree with you on that shit.
He never did. Like, I've never believed he was the number one pound for pound fighter. I've never believed that. Not one day in my life. So again, he was highly inflated. Like, it was all bullshit. But my thing is this, to come back to Bob Arum. I thought the T.O. Loma fight was a draw. I thought Loma clearly won the second round, and I thought he won rounds 7 through 11. The 12th round, I thought T.O. clearly won. However, top ranked Bob Arum, Teofimo Lopez, being the new young up-and-comer, Who did they sway the fight to? Teofimo Lopez. I believe there is a trend with Top Rank. I truly do.
Okay, so here's the thing. All right, so upon your, you telling me to look it up. This is such fucking cap. I can't even believe I'm doing it. I can't believe
we gotta wrap this up real soon because I got.
Okay, cool. Yeah, then we can wrap it up. Like, now I can't. Like, I don't even want to. This is so like you're trying to tell me because you took blood 2 days before a fucking fight in 2005, and like 5 years later, you don't want to do drug sample? Like, man, get the fuck out of here.
No. That's a whole different argument. That's
literally why this is what the article is. Why he doesn't want to take fucking drug tests.
That with Mayweather is a whole different thing, and I believe.
No, that's literally why. This is why he's referencing it.
No, listen though. Before whatever article you're referencing, it was brought out around the Morales fight. Now, maybe he's bringing it back up, but again, for the Mayweather fight, Freddie Roach himself said his trainer used to put something in his drink, and he knew it was wrong. That tells me everything I need to know.
Right, Freddie Roach put something in whose drink?
No, Freddie Roach did an interview, and he said, I forget the guy's name. He said one of Manny Pacquiao's cornermen, whatever trainer he was for Manny, used to put something in his
Boo
drink.
Boy or one of his Filipino guys.
Somebody in his team used to put something in his drink,
right.
And Freddie said he knew something was going on with it.
Okay, great. So cool. We can
that's why.
Move on from that. Cool.
No. My point is that's why I believe the real reason why he didn't want to get tested for the Mayweather fight originally.
Yeah, I just think the dude was on something. And this whole thing about like the Morales thing, it was 2 days before the fucking fight. Like, dude, like you're dizzy because you gave blood 2 days ago. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Bro.
It wasn't right before the fight. It was 2 days before the fight. They said he lost it. They lost the blood sample, and so they took it like 48 hours before the fight. Like,
I remember him saying that he had to take it before he walked out the fight. On the day of the fight.
Is it by claiming to have lost the results? Yet again, just 2 days before the fight. Like they made him draw blood a second time 2 days before the fight. Like, because they lost his results.
I'm trying to Google it now because I remember seeing I don't remember if it was ESPN that did it or some shit where Pacquiao was talking, and he said that he had his blood drawn before he walked out to fight Morales, and he felt dizzy because of it.
Yeah.
Not 2 days before. He didn't say 2 days before. He said,
yeah, I know, because that shit makes that whole fucking thing sound dumb as fuck, right?
Right. No, he said on some interview, I'm 99.9% positive it was with ESPN, one of their journalists on camera, and he was like,
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt he said it. I'm just saying that I don't put very much stock in it. I don't believe Manny when it comes to the reason why he lost fights, because it's never his fault.
Well, I don't believe the shoulder thing at all. There's no way. And then he said
the same thing with Loma. Loma never fucking just loses a fight because he lost. It's always some fucking excuse. Like, whatever, dude. I don't even give a shit about this for real. Like boxers saying like crazy ass shit to try to, explain what the fuck they've happened to them. Like, I don't care. Teofimo shit, like, people just don't lose, right?
I was waiting for Cambosis to come up with an excuse, to be honest with you. Loma did it, Tio did it.
He already did. Like, I mean, you're actually on his side with what he's saying. He's like, close fight.
Yeah, I thought it was a close fight, but that's not what I'm saying is I thought he was gonna be like, oh, I had I tore my shoulder, I broke my toe, my hand was broke, some bullshit. Like, supposedly Teofimo Lopez couldn't breathe, but yet he was doing backflips in the stadium with nobody there before the fight. And yet, in between every round of the fight that we can hear footage from, he never complained once about not being able to breathe.
I am.
But
yeah. Oh shit. Yeah,
That's my whole thing. I thought for sure that George was going to come up with an excuse of why he lost, but he didn't, to my surprise. I just figured it was going to be a 135 trend.
Yeah, we're gonna hear about it in the build to the fight. How I don't know. He said he missed weight on purpose, so I don't know how he's gonna double back and then blame it on the lost weight.
The only way that I think this is legitimate, what I think it could have been is when they weighed them in pounds, and in Australia they use kilograms. So that's 2.2 pounds per kilogram. So if their scale was in kilograms, not pounds, then the pounds is going to be a lot more precise of the weight making because it's a smaller measurement. So I don't believe he did it on purpose. I don't know if he was weighing on kilograms versus pounds, but I would think that would make the most sense. That if you're used to weighing in on kilograms in your country and they put you on a scale that's in pounds, there's definitely going to be a difference. It's not going to come out exact. That's what I think happened, but I don't know. He may have just not made weight. If you're talking, you're muted.
Yeah, I am fucking. I was talking. Shit. Yeah, I don't know, man.
But I will tell you this.
He said
Go
it was
ahead.
on purpose.
Huh?
He said it was on purpose. So
yeah, I don't believe that. And you shouldn't.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like the dude already made a ton of fucking excuses already.
Well, I want to say this. One thing I do like is when George went to Devin's locker room, it was funny to me because he was congratulating him about his win, and he was telling Devin, yeah, I thought your jab was a lot better than what I thought it would be. He was like, but I did hit you a couple of times. And Devin was like, you never hurt me, but you had better head movement than I thought you'd have. I kind of laughed at that.
But he said you had better what?
Head movement. He told George
head movement?
Yeah. He told George that he had better head movement than he thought he had. But prior to saying that, George was like, but I did hurt you a couple of times. And Devin was like, you never hurt me, but you did have better head movement. I just thought it was funny that he told him that he never hurt him.
Yeah, hand movement? What is hand movement? Oh, head movement.
Head.
Yeah, better head movement, but you never
Head
hurt me.
movement, not hand. Head.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that got to do. Like one thing don't have anything to do with the other, but okay.
I'm saying that's what
didn't hurt me. You have good head movement. Okay.
No, you're not listening to what I'm telling you. George Kambosos, okay? Listen, he went to Devin Haney's locker room to talk to him about the fight, to congratulate him on the win, right?
Yeah, no, I know. I saw the clip.
While he was back there, he told Devin, he was like, you had a lot better jab than I thought you would have, saying that the jab was way better. Right after he said that, he said, you had a lot better jab than I thought you would have, but I did hurt you a couple of times. In response, Devin said, you never hurt me. And then he said to Kambosos, but you did have better head movement than I thought you would have. I thought it was funny that he shut that down immediately and told George, you never hurt me, even though George thought he did. That's all I'm saying. You understand? You get it?
Yeah, I just don't understand the head movement part. I guess he just changed the subject to something else.
No, like George gave him a compliment on how good his jab was, and I guess
I got you. Right, I know. He said he never hurt me, and then he just decided to give him another compliment back about head movement. I guess
that's how it went down. That's how it went down.
Okay,
like you can see it, like it's on top rank. But I just thought it was funny how quickly he was to dismiss that George hurt him, because it looked like.
Well, if the guy said I caught you a couple of times, that's what you say.
What's that?
If a guy says I caught you a couple of times, you say, yeah, you didn't hurt me.
No, he said he hurt him, not caught him, hurt him.
No, well then if he said you hurt him, then I hurt you. No, you didn't.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I found it fun. Never mind, man.
No, I'm saying I'm sorry.
Forget it.
No, I mean I get it. I'm just trying to figure out what you found funny about it. You said you found it funny. Did you find it funny that Devin Haney said you didn't hurt him? Did you find it funny that Kambosos said he hurt him? Which part is funny?
What I'm saying is, what was funny is after George said, I hurt you a couple of times, immediately Devin was like, nah, you didn't hurt me.
Why is that funny?
Yeah, I found that funny how Devin said it. Because It's the way he said it. You have
Oh,
to
he said
watch
it in a funny way. Okay.
Well, it was kind of like in a you ain't shit way, like you didn't do shit type of way how he said it. So it was funny to me
Oh yeah.
that
Okay,
he
yeah,
let
no,
him know.
the volume was like kind of fucked up on the clip, and there's a whole bunch of back and forth about that I didn't actually understand. Like like Bill was talking about how there was a fight that broke out afterwards, and something about his dad, like make sure you stay in the corner, stay on the same page or some shit. I don't know.
Right.
It was just like kind of a weird back and forth in there. But I did appreciate. I thought it was great sportsmanship that Kambosos went in there by himself, went to the Lions Den, and gave dude his props. That was fucking class. That was straight class.
Yeah. But anyways, we're going to end it there. Devin Haney, the constant professional. Even whenever George was talking shit, he did not talk it back. Even after the fight was over, he congratulated George. Job well done, but I won. So you got to give it to Devin Haney on his professionalism. He was a professional going over there, stayed a professional, even when Kambosos was talking stuff. And even after he beat him, he had no matter what he would have said, he could have said after winning the fight, but he didn't. He kept it professional. So you got to give him credit for that. Got anything you want to say before I close the smoke?
Nah, man, it's a great conversation. I'm glad we had it.
All right, man. I'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, peace, man.
All right, good night.